everyone! It's time for a podcast again, and I am here, me, Sunnyfall, that is me, with my friends, Akira.
Hello.
Hawkkz.
Yo.
And Moon.
Hello.
That's Moon of the Kitty, Akira of the Bright, and Hawkkz, just Hawkkz, who is returned.
Yes, I am back from the grave, but here to wreak havoc nonetheless.
And speaking of, we have also, in bringing you back, gotten to start a brand new era in Warriors history. We have a new arc before us. No longer are we in a starless clan, but we are in Chasing Skies.
Changing
Skies. The title my brain absolutely refuses to get it right every time. Changing Skies. The Elder's Quest, yes. We will be discussing that today as a quartet. But before we get into more specifics, I am going to give each of us a chance, as I usually do, to summarize our overall feelings on the book. Akira, would you like to start us off?
Yeah. So it's really fun to have a book titled Elder's Quest without a quest in it. I thought that was a really interesting little detail. As far as the actual book things, I think that Leafstar's perspective was probably the least favorite. I think it was kind of bad. The other two had their like goods and bads, but I thought they were like, I don't know, there had some like a lot of good like funny moments with Tawnypelt and Moonpaw, and I think that it is somewhat enjoyable. And that is my thoughts.
Perfect. And Hawkkz, what are your thoughts?
Well, I'm a little more on the negative side here, but first of all, okay, I'm gonna say this, and I don't want you all to think that I'm crazy. I actually think this was a very reasonably middling of the road book as far as the flow and some of the writing goes, but the plot for me just is not there. I feel that's the problem with a lot of modern Warrior Cats books, but this one, like, shockingly more than others. I think it is lazy, repetitive, it is more intrigue than story, and it completely undermines, honestly, what would have been excellent and inventive choices for protagonists in the first place by forcing them along a plot that is just not there. There are some that are clearly better than others, but that's not to say that there are also actual examples of total character assassination. Tigerstar, wink, wink. If I had to rate it, I mean, seriously, like, this is an F for me, teetering on borderline D tier, depending on who you ask, and that's, to say the least, of my disappointment.
Hold on, does this grading system go all the way to Z? I'm really confused by it.
Does it go A, B, C, D, E? A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D, F, E, G, H, I, and so on?
I mean, I purportedly, but I
mean, you said it was middling, but you also said it was an F, but you also said it was teetering on an E.
Yeah, well, I'd say it's more middling as far as I feel as like the actual writing, but just in general, the book as a whole is just not very good.
So E is above F.
I guess so.
Okay.
Yeah, that's where I was completely not understanding.
Okay. Anyway, Moon, your thoughts?
This book was weird and short. I don't know why it was short. Obviously, they all feel short, to be honest. They're baby books for babies. But it was weird and short. Not very much actually happened within it, and certain characters felt like they were repeating themselves quite a bit. Like, I think that Leafstar and Tawnypelt did a lot of just kind of going through the exact same motions over and over and over and over again. Moonpaw's obviously the most interesting out of the three because Moonpaw has anything going on in Moonpaw's life. But like, generally speaking, it was a very funny book, not on purpose, sometimes on purpose. But like last book we had funny on purpose with like gray slime and whatnot. But this time there's a lot of like funny fan fiction-y kind of. I know that I actually don't really like describing things as fan fiction because I think that being like fan fiction would actually be a boon to Warrior Cats. But what I mean to say is, like, it has lots of elements that almost feel like it's making fun of itself almost. So I'm not really sure where I stand on that level without getting into any specifics. But yeah, no, I mean, Hawk's is right in that not very much happened plot-wise, and we don't really know what's happening except for, two legs are encroaching on the territory again. But there's, I don't know. I do very, very much enjoy any sort of lull we have in the Warrior Cats universe where cats can just kind of, be themselves and have their own interactions between each other, like as human beings, without the dire pressure of death always looming over them and enforcing their decisions. And we haven't had anything that's like been a breather for a very long time. So I guess I appreciate this book as a breather, but at the same time, it is still a Warrior Cats book, and it is still written like someone made up everything on the spot.
Fair. I'm in a sort of similar boat. I will say Leafstars was actually my favorite of the 3 stories. Tawnypelt's definitely being my least favorite, but with all 3 of them, it very much felt like they each spent 7 chapters doing exactly one thing. And whether it was them doing the same thing over and over to get to that one thing, or just spending 7 chapters inching and inching along to get to the one thing they were doing, each of the 3 protagonists really just felt like they only got to do one thing over the entire book, which it wasn't great plot-wise, but also as far as character development, it's really hard for me to even figure out what to say about this book, because so much of it feels like this is the intro chapter to a story that we haven't yet read. It could go in a million different directions, and I don't know at this point which one they're really leaning towards. Even in the way that, oh my goodness, what's the book before The Silent Thaw? Lost Stars?
Yeah.
Lost Stars, yeah. Yes. Lost Stars did give us Bramblestar, obviously, but even like its later stuff, it dipped its toe in Bristlefrost and Rootpaw knowing each other. And I didn't want to believe that was where it was going, but it was there from the start. It was an indication of where they were trying to take the story eventually. I don't necessarily see nearly as much of that here, outside of the one thing that it was obvious from each of their first chapters that they were going to do. So we'll see when we get into the specifics, but I've been going back and forth a lot on how I feel about this book.
Yeah, I think it's awful. I think it's awful.
I wanted to get into one of the minor things before we start talking about the big stuff. And I'm honestly glad that we're recording this video today specifically, because we got a sudden new update this afternoon.
Say what?
Yeah. So in case you aren't aware, there's like a single line, maybe 2 lines in one of the later chapters that indicates Myrtlebloom has a new litter of kits. Woohoo! And the father of those kits is Shelfer, who is Fernstripe's mate. Fernstripe, who moved from WindClan specifically to be with him. But while everyone was who noticed this was kicking up a fuss on the day of release, they did release some images on the family tree that will be uploaded to the family tree on the Warriors website today. And there they have Myrtlebloom's mate as being Flipclaw instead of Shelfer. So they might have just completely misnamed the character in their own book.
It would be classic Warrior Cats, wouldn't it?
It would be, yeah.
Either way, if the website is deciding to canonize a new relationship, I'm not going to, fight it on it,
Yeah, what I'm guessing happened in this case is that they had originally written Myrtlebloom with Shelfer and then realized at some point during the editing or publishing, oh wait, we already gave Shelfer a mate, it's the one who moved from WindClan to see him, and decided to not do that, but they didn't decide it enough because it still got in the printing.
Yeah, they'll never go back to fix it. They'll never go back.
Reprints, they're just a long way away.
It takes 5 years for them to reprint a book. So you can't know right away if or not they're going to fix something. It's just impossible.
I mean, they've done it with plenty of tiny things before. Bumbleflight, Thornclaw and Mousewhisker, possibly training in the Dark Forest with Blossomfall. This is one of the things that I could totally imagine you picking up copies in 5 years and oops, it's Flipclaw, not Shelfer, who's Myrtlebloom's mate.
If I was in charge of fixing this, though, I would just switch out Myrtlebloom for Shelfer. Not Shelfer, Myrtlebloom for Fernstripe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to Okay, so this means two pairs of siblings both like had kittens at the same time with each other. I mean they're not siblings with the person they're having kittens with, but like they're cousins on both sides. These two kits and Moonpaw.
Oh, I hadn't noticed. You're right. You're totally right. Oh, I was going to have more to say on this bullet when I thought they had done this on purpose or were sticking with it. But if this is just a funny little accident that they're already aware of even by themselves, I'm willing to turn up my hands at it.
There was no world where it was on purpose. There was just no world on the earth.
Not like on purpose, but it might have been something they hadn't yet discovered that they just didn't care about Shelfer or Fernstripe enough to even notice.
Well, I would not have noticed.
I almost exclusively noticed because
all gibberish to
Moon
me.
has been talking about Fernstripe and Shelfer in every one of our podcasts up until now.
Oh, you're
Really?
just gonna put me on the spot. You're just gonna put me on the spot. You're gonna say, oh, it's Moonkitti. She cares too much about the characters in the books we have a podcast about.
That's not an insult.
I see how it is.
Anyway, though, moving into the larger stuff, I wanted to start with Tawnypelt's broadest thing, which is that she is old and not being treated well by the non-old members of ShadowClan, and she's really getting along with her grand kitten, except her grand kitten isn't getting along with her parents, so she's fighting with it. It's complicated. Hawkkz, it sounded like you had thoughts, though.
Yeah, so I don't know. I just think Tawnypelt is just like tired and fed up, you know? I mean, I kind of like that they're shifting her like in a direction where it's almost like a foil towards, I guess, kind of what they're wanting to do with the arc, with it basically being like the new prophecy too. Like, I understand that having somebody with a more pessimistic like outlook on this is like the perfect like thing to compare against change, because you know that's always the thing, right? I mean, it's change coming in and nobody likes change, but change always happens, and as you grow older, I mean, you see things change, obviously, and sometimes they aren't exactly what you want. And I don't know, Tawnypelt, you know, she feels like she's being undermined a lot by all of these young cats, and I feel like Tigerstar is really acting way out of character, like way too selfish than he actually would be. And it's such a distinction between like how he was portrayed last arc. Like I don't really understand the thought process going into it. And honestly, I think that it was probably the same guy that wrote that chapter about Owl Nose kill Barry Hart that did the stuff with Tiger Heart this book. So, because I mean, it's just not adding up to me whatsoever.
Well, to be fair, any given chapter is going to be written by the individual ghostwriter, but...
Yeah.
Cherith this time, by the way.
Yeah, and to be fair, Kate wrote the last book, and Kate is also the person who wrote, like, a big monologue from Fernstripe in the last book. So, we're, a monologue about Fernstripe, not from her. Forget that. But, the whole... Tawnypelt in particular, okay, is interacting with a whole bunch of characters who are essentially treating her the same way that people treated Nightheart last arc. They're saying, oh, this is the character that we need to victimize, so every single person is going to go in the direction that is going to make this person the biggest victim, and we're not going to think about it if or not it makes sense.
Yeah, this is exactly why I said Tawnypelt was my least favorite. Warriors has been doing this thing for years, but particularly with at least one character in every arc of the new team. We just have this one character where we really, really need them to be undermined by everyone and bullied and victimized, and we're going to throw everyone around them out of character or just not care about giving them characters for the sake of making sure that we know this cat is the hero and we should trust this cat and no one else. They have to go it alone and do their own hero's journey. And... Oh, yes, Akira?
Wait, so you're saying that for Tawnypelt, but then you said you liked Leafstar? But it's kind of the same idea?
I'll get back to her in a second, but yes, I have a... basically, Leafstar has an allegory that I think makes it more palatable. But it does have some of the same trends. You're right.
All right, continue.
Yes. I'll get there in a minute. Tawnypelt is in a place where she feels disconnected from everyone in ShadowClan. So she really only talks with Birchfeather. Birchfeather's a delight, by the way. I love Birchfeather. But everyone else is just kind of equally terrible for the sake of pushing her along on her journey. Tigerstar in particular, though, is
like really bad.
Is honestly he is really bad. I'm not gonna fight you on that, but Tigerstar, Tigerheart, Tigerpaw has been one of the least consistent characters across his entire run as a character. Where in every arc, sometimes every book, they'll choose a slightly different characterization for him. I really liked a Starless Clan Tigerstar, but I didn't really like Omen of the Stars Tigerheart or Tigerheart Shadow Tigerheart Tigerstar. And I guess I'm also not going to like Changing Skies Tigerstar.
I would argue that he has some level of consistency between a Starless Clan and the Broken Code.
That's fair, yes.
So our new team Tigerstar, although a little bit weird at the beginning, has felt a little bit more consistent than before. So I wouldn't say that he's the most inconsistent character. I would say that's like Hairstar or something, like
okay, that's fair.
Like any of the background leaders. I would say Leafstar's been pretty inconsistent.
That's true, yeah.
But Tigerstar's been such a focus that he has been like pretty well characterized recently. So I think it's reasonable to be upset that they just sprung something that was a little bit like I'm not upset with Tigerstar. Like I can't really say like, oh, I'm so mad at Tigerstar. I can only say like it's really weird that they had to write him this way
because they had put so much focus and care into him the last arc and a half at least. The fact that they have turned around and made him just one of the guys who's really awful to Tawnypelt and to his own son, when one of his defining characteristics last arc was really protective of family, it just indicates to me that they're not really caring about their characters, period.
Yeah, very, very oddly hypocritical. And I mean, they kind of pointed out where it's like, oh, it's different because it's his kid, and it's like, no, dude, like what does that matter? I mean, you got to think about like Berryheart, dude, and all of that happened. Like you, like that was like her whole thing, is that she hated that, and you stood by that decision, to support this, new branch to the code, right? And now like you're doing such a 180. I mean, it's jarring. It's jarring to say the least.
I mean, I don't mind him being a hypocrite. I think, I don't know, he's just, I don't know, I always like sort of like imagine him as like selfish and like a lot of the time.
Yeah.
I'm okay with him, like, I don't know, like, because I'm not like he was never like the objectively morally pure character.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I guess I'm fine with him being selfish, but I thought him being selfish would be, Birch Splash, I want to keep you here because I don't want to lose my precious baby boy, not Birch Splash, I disown you because you've dared to leave my clan. I guess it's just the flavor of selfishness that's coming out is really odd to me.
Well, see, my issue's completely different then. Like it's not about if or not Tigerheart is selfish. It's about if or not Tigerheart has like okay. Tigerheart specifically has been very, very supportive of his children, almost in a no matter what sort of way. He was willing to like literally hurt himself and his clan to help Shadowsight in the Broken Code. And so while I kind of understand like him wanting to keep his kid in the clan, the book never brings that up. The book never has him say, bring her here. The book never has him say, like, you fix this. Like, you're staying here and she's coming here. Like, he never even tries to, like, take steps to, like, domineer the situation as you would anticipate him doing. He instead just kind of goes and he sulks in a hole, and that's weird.
The most understandable thing to me would be for him to just say, okay, son, I support you all the way. I will claw your way into SkyClan myself and make sure Leafstar accepts you. Like, that would be what I'd expect from last arc Tigerstar. But even if they went with the flavor of selfishness that is, I can't support this because I want my good baby boy to be by my side, I would have been more understanding of that than the I'm completely ambivalent, you are disowned to me, you've chosen to leave ShadowClan and therefore you're nothing.
Also, Dovewing is supporting this weird ass behavior.
That too.
Yeah. No, it makes no sense. Makes no sense.
It's like, Dovewing, you left your clan. I mean, like, obviously the book keeps saying, Dovewing, you left your clan, Dovewing, you left your clan over and over again. And it's not entirely, like, out of character for Tigerheart to, like, not want to leave his clan, considering that entire book. But, like,
Yeah.
it is kind of backwards for what would probably be the greatest supporters of clan hopping to be doing this.
Yeah.
Wait, I had, like, we were saying, we were talking about how, like, Dovewing was out of character, but I think, like, one of the quotes was that, Tigerstar was sort of, like, forcing Dovewing to go along with him. It says, Dovewing's eyes misted over with sorrow, and she seemed about to speak, but as she opened her jaws, Tigerstar interrupted with a blunt, No, remember, Dovewing and I have decided to show Birchfeather tough love. We won't be interacting with him while he's aiming to become a SkyClan cat. So, like, Dovewing, like, wants to say something, but Tigerstar shuts her down. That's, like, another thing, too.
I don't know. That's where I think it's a little confusing, because initially she's like, "How dare you, Tawnypelt? Why'd you do this to my son?" You know, and then it's like, I could kind of see that it's more Tigerstar's thinking, and that would totally be his character for him to, like, actually do that, you know, as the type of person that he is. But I feel like it's really kind of unclear the way that it was wrote, and it kind of flip-flopped, like, a lot. But I don't like it nonetheless.
I do think that Dovewing usually is written with a bit more agency, even in that situation. But like last arc, she was kind of she kind of had Tigerstar under her demands, you know.
Yeah,
so it's
that
like I think that quote kind of implies more so that they mutually decided on something, and she was fumbling on it, you know. Either way, it's like the entire situation is completely manufactured and doesn't seem real.
Yeah.
But
Tawnypelt, yes. So, this is something that, as far as I can tell, got a great amount of focus immediately in the fandom, because Tawnypelt has a new ship, and it's with another old cat, by some strange definition, an old friend, and it literally no one would have expected this one. It's Tawnypelt and Crowfeather.
Yeah, that was funny that it leaked on Christmas. It was our Christmas present.
Yeah.
I am so glad that I managed to stay away from the leaks.
I did as well.
I mean, I knew that Crowfeather did something, and I didn't realize it was going to be this. I wasn't even thinking about it. I was thinking, like, oh my god, did Crowfeather become leader of WindClan?
Oh my god, did Crowfeather die?
Like, or did Crowfeather die? Or did Crowfeather have another litter, like, with Night or something like that? Like, my brain was going to all sorts of places, and it did not go
Not
there.
this one.
Yeah.
Am I weird to say that I, like, actually like it, though? Like, I actually kind of like it.
I don't get it.
Yeah, you're weird.
No, I think it actually develops pretty reasonably. I mean, it's not like it's total, like, infatuation.
They had
it's
two
not like total
conversations.
infatuation right away. Well, that's true, but I mean, in the grand scheme of the book, this is a really short book, and not a lot happens in the first place. And I mean, I was kind of more surprised that she even had, like, a journey to go check on, you know, what the two legs were doing with him, and it didn't immediately start. That's more so what I'm talking about whenever I say that. And honestly, I think it's spicy. Like, I like that extra level of drama, and I think it's honestly one of the things that was really keeping me tied to the book outside of probably Moonpaw.
I'm always in favor of them trying something new, but I'm also equally never I'm equally never fond of their tendency to just have the she-cat look at the Tom who has done one good thing for her and say, "Oh my goodness, my heart is beating. I feel so much joy. Oh my goodness, do I love him?" And then,
Sunny, the bar's on the floor.
Rowanclaw comes to her in her dreams after like her first meeting with this guy and says, "If you want to leave me for him, it's okay. Don't you worry."
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Personality though.
Why in the world do you like him?
Well, I feel like to that point, it kind of really the way that I saw it is, again, with so much focus. I mean, they kind of spell it out immediately. Tawnypelt and like Leafstar's whole thing is that they're old. Like that's just the entire character. They're really similar in that fact, and I that's another thing. But I feel like, ooh, man, he is coughing. I feel like that her interest in Crowfeather really, I guess, symbolizes her, yearning for youth, just much as the same as how Leafstar is like constantly dreaming about the gorge and wanting to go back. And I feel like the way that it's going, it could provide like very interesting contrast to the way that they're trying to have her written with this new thing, that's kind of like opening the door towards, the amount of possibilities that could happen with whatever direction they choose to bring the books in.
I would understand that, except that between the fact that they have so few interactions and Tawnypelt has so few characteristics she likes about him other than he's old like me and he saved me and he's handsome. Yeah. Don't forget he's handsome. Yeah. He's so handsome.
Her words.
It feels very much like the sort of superficial romance that I've been disliking since the start of, like Bristlefrost is liking Rootspring because he represents a change in her life from being under Bramblestar or moving away from Stemleaf. Sunbeam likes Nightheart because it represents a change away from her mother into a new clan life. Yeah. It's the sort of thing where the ideals the partner represents are significantly more important than who the partner is. And that reads to me like it's only ever going to be a shallow relationship that should end in a breakup, a not getting together in the first place, or is just going to disappoint me, which has been the primary option.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I know that it's awful. I know full well that it is absolutely awful, and I am all there for the ride to see it crash and burn. That's my one hope, is to see it just go horribly.
If they have Tawnypelt and Crowfeather get together and then break up, I'm gonna give them an actual applause.
Yeah.
Crowfeather hasn't had enough of those.
Oh yeah, no, this is like his fourth one.
Go for his fifth. Just keep piling them on.
I think it's funny. I like that. I don't know. I like when things happen in the books that at least like get people like talking, like even if it's like something that's like people are all hating on, it's just like it's good to have like things that are like get people excited or just things that are just wacky. I like that angle. What I don't like is the Rowanclaw scene because it sort of takes away Tawnypelt's conflict. It like says, "Oh, Tawnypelt, it's okay, I support you," and when it could have been more interesting to drag out a little bit of her like emotional conflict of like her, instead of just like giving her the okay before like. Yeah. And this happens like she only has thought about him like twice at this point. She hasn't talked to Crowfeather yet. She hasn't started feelings with him, and it also happens before StarClan like gives her that actual prophecy. So it's a weird like priority order for StarClan to like focus on her romance before the looming threat to the clans.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I think that we should have at least let like Tawnypelt talk to Crowfeather first before like Rowanclaw stepped in, tried to play matchmaker.
Yeah, I don't really like how she kind of really removed Rowanclaw removed her agency in that choice by kind of just confirming to her what was initially just a crush. I mean, like I totally agree with you on that. I just. Yeah, it's kind of weird to just. I mean, I guess it's kind of like he's like supporting her, but the way that they wrote it, it doesn't really read that way. It just kind of seems like he's like, yeah, I'm like forcing you along to like confirm this like slight feeling that you only kind of just started to have, And I don't know. It would have been much better if she like kind of battled with herself more over those feelings.
I think I would have liked the... Oh, sorry. Go right ahead.
Finally, hello. I'm on the same page as Akira is when she says that that it's hilarious, because it is. It's super, super funny. This entire development is really like it's as if they are trying to. It's the kind of thing that somebody would put as like bait inside their Warrior Cats fanfiction to upset someone else. It is really, really good in that aspect. I don't care one way or another about Rowanclaw. I do not care about the Rowanclaw dream. It does not like it was just so like it's completely meaningless to me. I think it's really funny that Crowfeather has no idea that this is going on. I think that
correct. Yeah, they still haven't spoken of it openly at all. Crowfeather has no reciprocal feelings.
Yeah,
They made it. Go on.
the fandom is still blaming him for it.
Wait, what? I actually haven't heard that. What is the fandom
No, I mean,
saying?
all the jokes are directed at Crowfeather, not at Tawnypelt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because everybody hates Crowfeather. That's why everybody hates Crowfeather.
They're all like saying like, "Oh, Crowfeather getting another girl." Like it's all like, even though he hasn't done anything yet.
I have not been able to fandom interact very much since the book came out, just because of life busyness. So I had no idea, other than this was a thing being talked about, what they were saying.
Outside of various Discord servers that talk about the books, I don't go on the Twitters or the Tumblrs or anything anymore for my own well-being. So like hearing like on any pipeline, it's Crowfeather's fault that Tawnypelt got a crush on him is so funny to me. It just makes this better.
Yeah.
I'm in a weird position because I have absolutely no doubts that you're right, that this is extremely funny and people are going to harp on this for years. I unfortunately, though, was born without a sense of humor, and as a result can only be sad. And I wish I wasn't.
You're bringing a valuable angle to this discussion, Sunny.
Thank you. I don't like shallow romance, and I wish there were other funny things they could put in that weren't romance ever.
We don't even know if it's shallow yet. Like, developing a crush randomly isn't shallow. It's just,
Yeah, like,
life.
Tawnypelt having a random, out-of-nowhere crush on Crowfeather is not actually my problem. My problem is how quickly the books, and through the framing of Rowanclaw, try to present this as, wow, this is going to be such a monumental next step in your life, when you fall madly in love with this Tom.
Cherith seems like she's invested in it, so
I'm sure.
I want to see why. I want to see if she's like, if she thinks that this is just like what if she just puts her soul into it? What if we get the next book and it's actually like it's just a romance novel from the perspective of Tawnypelt?
If it's a good romance,
this is my impossible hypothetical.
If it's a romance novel that gives me some things that Tawnypelt specifically likes about Crowfeather that aren't just he's old, then I will give them an applause.
Okay, I'm gonna hold you to
he's
that,
old
and
or he's handsome.
No, yes, I'm gonna hold you to that, and I'm gonna write notes.
I promise I will uphold it.
Okay. But yeah, it's just hilarious.
We have done a fair amount of talk about the Rowanclaw scene already, but the one line I specifically wanted to bring up was Rowanclaw's reasoning for why Tawnypelt should be fine getting with Crowfeather, which is in StarClan, love is different. This is another tiny minor thing, but I think Greystripe would beg to differ. I think Spotted Leaf and Firestar would beg to differ. She had to double die for this guy.
I will argue that the Greystripe Silverstream, the conversation around by the authors, by Kate, way back when, the conversation around the Greystripe Silverstream Millie thing has implied on a few occasions that Greystripe, can kind of freely be between them. There has been that implication already. So I wasn't terribly shocked by this, but it did kind of, frame StarClan in a bit of an inhuman light in the same way that those adult kittens do. I mean, Silverstream was being a bit snotty, but Greystripe wasn't, committing to either of them, That wasn't happening on any level. So I think that it does support this in StarClan Love is Different, except she-cats are jealous and petty and vindictive.
I don't know if that's better.
Don't worry about it.
Well, at the very least, I actually prefer this model of StarClan love to what was implied previously by, Spotted Leaf's Double Death. I would prefer if they can just have polygamy in StarClan. But It was a thing. It was a minor little thing that caught my brain.
It's just them scrambling for something to like an excuse. The
Yeah.
writers just haven't said they need something to put there, and that was like that's the most vague thing they can do, so they don't have to actually explain it.
True.
It's different.
Well, it's not like Rowanclaw can give any traits about Crowfeather that make him a good love interest. Every single one of Crowfeather's traits makes him an awful love interest.
Yeah, it's like it feels like just brushing it aside because he doesn't like explain why it's different. He just says it's different, so it's just like leaves the reader to decide like how they feel about it.
On the note of other, I don't even know if this counts as a minor thing. This might be a more major thing, an out of book thing. And Hawkkz mentioned this in his introduction as well. But The Elder's Journey is the title of this book.
Quest?
Except it is not.
What? It is not.
Quest.
That is just factually wrong. Let's try that again. The Elder's Quest is the title of this book, which I have never gotten wrong, either in speaking or in writing it for the sake of this podcast.
Okay, Chasing Skies.
This is what happens when you get a book release in January. Sunny is completely off her game.
Yeah, they were kind of soon with this one, weren't they?
So, why is The Elder's Quest the title of this book?
Their quest was to go up to the moon pool. Well, not up to the moon. The quest was to go down to the stream or down slightly past the territories, look at some trucks, turn around, and come back.
Yeah.
Next time I go to the grocery store, I'm calling it Sunnyfall's Quest.
I think it's Blue Star's prophecy at the end, not the book. That she gives a prophecy to Tawnypelt at the end, and that's the quest. Mm-hmm. It's just like that's the.
You will be going on a quest.
Yeah, I guess it's just kind of confusing because they usually use that word so interchangeably with like we're going somewhere and we're doing something immediately. But I mean, it could have just as easily been called the Elder's Prophecy and nobody would have cared.
I had heard a odd conspiracy theory that at one point this book either had tighter pacing or more chapters and did include the start of the quest, but it was cut at some point. There's no evidence for that.
It's shorter, but it's not that much shorter.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have the page, it was like 250 something pages.
256.
So it's like, 50 pages or so less shorter than a standard book. So wouldn't be enough time to start a quest.
I'd argue it's more like 20 because usually, I mean, sometimes
sometimes they're short too, yeah.
Yeah, like the shortest they would have gone beforehand was like 270. So like I kind of like believe, like I'm kind of leaning more towards the fact that they like maybe just cut a chapter, but at the same time, I mean, like I don't know what they'd even do with that singular chapter.
But it feels like they end on a decisive note, though.
Yeah, that is true.
I figured that if there was a chapter they cut, it was actually a Leafstar chapter, because her chapters spontaneously end. I think 18 is her last, something around that.
Yeah.
If there was a cut chapter in the first place, again, there's no evidence one way or the other.
See, that leads me to think, like conspiratorially, like, if we're gonna make up stuff about the book, it makes more sense to imagine that maybe Leafstar was initially supposed to die.
That is a thought many people had before the book came out, that she was going to die here.
Well, I mean, like, people are kind of desperate for Leafstar to die in general.
Well,
so
yeah.
Well, I'm sorry.
I mean, she shouldn't be alive, based on the fact that she was left alone falling off a cliff without medical attention for 3 days.
Yeah, how did that happen?
I genuinely assumed that what happened there is that they found her less than a day later, but she needed to recover for the remaining time period.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like it's kind of just one of those things that they kind of just threw away. And it's like, oh my god, it's been 3 days because it's going to add more, that kind of like artificially...
So we can keep the timelines between the characters consistent.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's why Frostpaw spent 2 weeks in a coma, was just so that Icewing could get back so that she could look at her and decide she was leader now. Yeah. The Elder's Quest is not a good title, but when are they ever?
Sunset, sunrise.
Don't talk to me about sunset and sunrise.
Yeah, the last arc, they just gave up the titles and just named them Sky, Wind. This book that doesn't have SkyClan in it, Sky.
Yeah.
Midget Flake was there. I always remember which one Thunder is.
I remember that River is first and Star is last, and most of the other ones I will confuse at some point.
Well, I got like a giant library of them sitting right next to me, so I never have to forget because I know I'd misplace it myself just as easily.
This is what happens when you get Kindle books. You don't have them to stare at.
Yeah.
So that prophecy, Sunny.
So the prophecy. So I split this into two because they are a couple paragraphs apart, and also because they indicate completely different things. So part one of the prophecy, given spontaneously to Tawnypelt in the last chapters of the book, is the end of an era approaches. Tawnypelt, you are the cat who must lead the clans out of the moonless dark and onto a new path.
I just wonder, why is it Bluestar that gives the prophecy and not someone who actually like went on the original journey?
Right? Like, you were long dead, girl. What are you talking about?
Like, it could be Firestar, it could be Feathertail.
Nope, Bluestar does everything. Bluestar does everything StarClan related ever.
Bluestar wasn't even the leader when Tawnypelt left. It was Firestar.
Yep.
She was the one who gave Brambleclaw his new prophecy.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah.
But like Tawnypelt wouldn't even know that.
Maybe they were thinking on some level of callback there, but it's not very meaningful. It would be more meaningful if it was Firestar.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not really earned.
Not to be someone saying it would be more meaningful if it was Firestar. I'm sorry, I take it back. We don't need more Firestar. I didn't mean it.
It would be more meaningful if it was Blackstar.
Maybe. We don't know. Like, we don't know what Blackstar and Tawnypelt's relationship was, like, as characters.
We don't know what Tawnypelt's relationship was with anyone.
Well, that's the thing, is that she leaves. Like, Tawnypelt is inherently fascinating because we never see inside her head when she is leaving ThunderClan, when she is living with her dictator father. We never or when she's deciding to stay in ShadowClan anyways. We don't see any of that, and it feels like it's the perfect first arc thing to cover that they've just never touched on for some reason.
Maybe this is an indication that they're going to do a Tawnypelt Super Edition at some point. Maybe they care about her now.
I don't know if there's enough for a Super Edition.
Well, they've already done a novella. They can't do a second Tawnypelt novella. Maybe a Tawnypelt manga.
The graphic novels are retelling the books now, and the novellas are gone. Yeah. There's no more chances.
The supplemental material is skimmed down quite a bit. Tawnypelt guidebook. There we go.
Yeah. And give her a short
The best
story
it could do for you is an article on the website where the authors where the website team tells you a little bit about Tawnypelt.
True.
Travel companion to the Tawnypelt world.
The words of the prophecy itself, though, are relatively obvious, I think. Watch me be proven wrong in several months, but it sure does feel like Tawnypelt has to lead all of the clans out of the lakes into a new territory.
Yeah, I just think it's so, like, lazy. I mean, it's literally just, like, the new prophecy again, dude. And it's like, why would you choose to, like, retell, like, the worst arc? Like, literally, I mean, I know people say a lot about Dawn of the Clans, but I mean, it's a general consensus in the fandom that nobody likes new prophecies. So
is it?
Just, I guess.
I mean, there's consensus among just me that I don't like.
It's consensus in this call. I don't like new prophecies.
But
I think it's probably unfair to think that it's a consensus that it's the worst because all the fan favorites were introduced in that arc.
Yeah, that's true, but I don't really see it as like a character thing as much as I see it as like a plot thing. And that's kind of where I worry with this, is that if they choose to take this in this direction, I mean, like how many more Warrior Cats books are we gonna get, guys? Like, I mean,
I guess
like they're gonna.
The thing about the new prophecy is, like, a lot of the characters in it are fan favorites, but almost everything fan favorite about them comes from content outside of the new prophecy. It's either from stuff in the Prophecies Begin, or from Power of Three, or Omen of the Stars, or Mothwing's Secret.
I think like Leafpool, in Mothwing and Crowfeather, a lot of their content is in the new prophecy.
Yeah, that's a fairly good point.
Oh, that's true. I forgot that some people like Leaf Crow. Yeah, that's not an insult, I swear. I just genuinely forgot.
Yeah, no, she brings up a good point to that, because whenever people talk about how much they hate the new prophecy, they're kind of just talking about like the traveling books. I mean, and then the tribe, etc., etc.
And also the relationship drama when they get to the lake.
Yeah,
don't love that either.
People love like Hawkfrost and his like death scene.
Yeah,
I guess they do. Yeah. It sometimes feels like I'm looking through a crystal glass when I remember that people liked Hawkfrost before Omen of the Stars. Like, why? What drew you to this man?
I don't know, because she was Brambleclaw, but with blue eyes, I guess. I don't know.
That might be all it takes, actually.
You don't need a reason. You just need a Flightfoot Warrior AMV.
This is true.
Anyway.
So true.
I know why. This is very late. This is a very late response, but I know why. I know why they would leave again. Okay, so the Roblox game is making them lots and lots and lots. They are now making a second game that is based on the lake territory. How in the world are they going to make a third Roblox game in 4 years if they don't have a new place to put it?
Very true. The Warriors Roblox game is like the most popular thing in Warriors right now.
That's
it's totally just because of the money. Like it's just because of the money. Like I don't really think like just having them uproot like this late. I mean, we're talking like this is Arc 9, guys, and like unless we're sitting here in like 5 years and we're still talking about it, then I don't even know what they're gonna do between then and now.
I don't put it past me to be talking about this still in 5 years, I'm gonna be honest.
To be fair, for the team, and especially like for Cherith, who has been on roughly since the beginning, they've been at the Lake Territories for a solid 20 years almost.
Yeah. Yep.
And it might not entirely be money. It might be we've grown a little bit bored of this setting that we've been in for so long.
And
yeah, but
I remember back when Arc 6, when the Vision of Shadows was coming out, like I thought that at that point they might switch over to a new territory because the lake was getting old back then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So now the lake is definitely like super old, and I think having like, you know, a questing thing is just a necessary evil in order to get a new setting for the books.
And the benefit of doing the new prophecy over again is you can make it better. You can actually include character relationships if you like. You can include bonding over the course of the journey. You can treat the tribe nicely or just not visit the tribe. There are many options.
Yeah, but go ahead, Moon.
Oh, sorry. No, I was just going to say, I do not think that that's a strong possibility. I think that it's going to be a series of, them meeting a festival and them going through a mall and them falling on a trampoline and them falling in a pool. Like it's just going to be that over and over.
I'm thinking of possibilities, Moon.
Okay, I'm just saying, like, it's going to be a traveling book if it's a traveling book. That's all
I mean, yeah. We've seen them do a traveling book very recently, and it's fair to presume from that what our traveling books will be like. But one could improve upon the shortcomings of the new prophecy in this setup as well.
Yeah, but to that point, I kind of feel like the way that they're already kind of doing it is like retreading like way too similarly to like how the new prophecy was written. Like that's why I think they chose Leafstar, is just because obviously, I mean, the Crowfeather points it out like all the time. Like it's like the only thing he says. I was old and I was back when before we were here. And that's like his whole deal with the whole thing. And SkyClan is the only clan to have not, been there. Obviously, StormClan aside, I guess, various other Warriors clan adjacent groups as well. But like, I mean, they start off with like the poisoning and all of that stuff with the water supply and all of that. And I'm just like, as soon as I saw that, I got so bored and tired immediately. Like I kind of just checked out. It's like, yeah, like this, you guys, you've kind of done this already. And I kind of know what I'm supposed to be expecting here. So I don't really, like, I'm not really paying attention. They haven't hooked me so far with the premise of going back and doing that again.
But just wait until you get 2 more books of them arguing about whether or not they're going to leave or not.
That'll really hook us.
She's so right. She's so right.
Oh, that is happening, though. That is happening,
100%.
And we know that Hairstar is going to say, no, we're not leaving. We're never going to leave. Like, it's going to be Hairstar.
Yeah, it's totally going to be Hairstar. It's like, Hairstar, shut up, dude.
I'm just going to I'm going to leave this exact moment as a time where I can technically still hope that it will go better, because we don't know yet.
I hope so too.
Anyway, SkyClan, as you mentioned, is being poisoned by Two Legs in their river.
Yes, they are. And I just like, what even did they? I struggle to remember this. Did they follow up on that? Like, did they actually like? It was like four of them, like immediately in Leafstar's first chapter, where it was like boom, 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 boom. We all have pink eyes, and I don't. Did they ever actually die, or like what happened?
I don't think that they re-mentioned the sick cats.
Nope.
By name.
Yeah, they kind of just went along with like the whole water thing, and they kind of just forgot. So I mean, let's not forget that in the new prophecy they were like violently throwing up, and it was making them die. But I guess they're just fine this time, right?
I remember specifically one of them was Bella Leaf, because I was very upset at the idea of them getting rid of one of the special named SkyClan cat.
Dude, me too. Yeah, it was like Bella Leaf, the second one, and then the third, and then the fourth one, and it kind of just happened, and then it was done.
It was Bella Leaf.
But Bella Leaf doesn't get mentioned after they're initially explaining it.
Bella Leaf, Sage Nose,
Everybody control F's.
Cloud Mist. Bella Leaf, Sage Nose, Cloud Mist.
And then it was didn't one of them like actually drink the water? And
that was like, Cloud Mist.
That was Cloud Mist?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
It might just be those three.
Yeah.
Because then they start talking about the Badgers as well. Does Bella Leaf come up again?
I don't think so.
Okay.
She doesn't, I looked.
So she's still sticking the den.
Nope, and she's the first one.
24. It's the last page. 24 is the last time they mention her.
Oh no.
Oh my god.
Okay, so now
Just
I'm left
mentioned
to
for one
assume
chapter.
she did die, but Leafstar didn't notice.
No.
Yeah, dude, whenever I saw that, I was kind of like, oh my god, are they finally going to start killing these cats so we could have, like, smaller clans? No.
If you're going to start killing cats, kill cats in ThunderClan.
True. I mean, even SquirrelStar is complaining about it now. Guys, like, the joke is tired. Just start killing them. Like, I just like, something's got to happen. I guess this is kind of like their opportunity if they're wanting them to, like, uproot and, like, move again.
SkyClan got to lose half its population on the way to the lake.
Yeah.
It's true.
That's a vaguely interesting idea, though, actually.
Yeah.
The idea that maybe it's not going to be all of them leaving at once. Maybe the safer areas of the territory are going to remain inhabited by, like, leftovers.
That would be great. Just get
leave
rid
all
of
the
them.
elders there again?
No, not the elders. Not the elders, but, like...
Just people.
Okay, you know how in Dawn of the Clans they have a vote? Well, not a vote. The Dawn of the Clans, they all get together and they say, okay, some of us have to leave, and some of us are going to stay. And then Dawn of the Clans, like, a chunk of them leave, but then the rest stay as the tribe. I wonder if, like, the StormClan thing is, like, set up for, like, only part of the cats leaving.
Yeah, dude, that's actually a really good point, because I feel like if they're gonna go anywhere, the fact that they even, like, StormClan even exists, I think they're just gonna go there.
Well,
I think
StormClan still exists. They implied that it really just got torn apart and died.
But I think they're going to that place where StormClan went.
Well, yeah, they drew the entire map. It has look at Ivy Pool's Heart. They drew an entire map for it. So like, why else would that soul map like exist? You know?
Yeah, they also
only
drew
within
an
that
entire
book.
map for Leafstars, the SkyClan the old SkyClan territory.
Yeah,
which they used for multiple books, though.
That's kind of more of like
a
that's more of a significant example, and I think, well, I mean, with the way that they're kind of doing like StormClan's Folly, like obviously they're gonna reuse it again, probably for, I don't know, maybe, I don't know, I don't really know, but like it kind of begs the question in the first place, like they don't really typically do that just for any reason, you know.
The thing is, StormClan, like when they announced StormClan, I mean when they announced like the Super Editions to start with, their whole like thing was that we're making this Super Edition 17 book to set up a Super Edition 18 book that is its own independent story. It's freeing to get away from the main arcs to have stories that aren't tied to the main arcs. Mm-hmm. I don't think StormClan is going to be tied to this. I think my opinion is that it has to do with SkyClan's old territory, because that's what Leafstar is dreaming about multiple chapters, and it also gives her like a stake in the plot.
Yeah, that's a fairly good point. I could see them going either way with that, and I'm interested in like either one. Honestly, I never even considered that.
I don't think they're going back to the gorge for any reason. Just because, well, one, the gorge was like a hellscape where they were just under attack constantly. But even if they completely ignore that and they say, okay, the gorge is safe now and you can actually live for more than one generation there, that isn't a very large stretch of territory. So that would imply that only SkyClan was going back.
Yeah, and there was like that huge storm that happened in Leafstar's manga where it was kind of just like completely like done. Like they like it was I don't know. I don't. And Darktail also kind of like ruined their camp too. I think that was a thing in.
It's like not necessarily that they're gonna like go to the gorge itself and settle in SkyClan's camp, or that they're gonna go in that direction. Like they're gonna travel a quest in that like general like area.
Oh
so
god,
they're gonna
pass
go
by
down,
maybe.
Like down, and then they're gonna go past down their original territories, and then.
I don't know. I'm just thinking there's some sort of connection to SkyClan.
Oh, dude, I just thought about this. So what are they just gonna? They're gonna leave now. They're gonna. What about Warrior Clan? Like, is like Gray Stripe is already dead. First of all, like so. Nobody even like knows that they exist, but they're just gonna move farther away from them. But if they go back that way,
if they meet Warrior Clan at any point along this journey,
I just hope they don't. God, like just bringing up the gorge just makes it like flashback to Stick, and like I just don't like. I swear to God, if we see Stick one more time, I'm gonna lose my mind.
Don't you miss Stick?
He's got to be dead at this point, right?
Stick and Red. Oh wait, Stick misses Red.
Stop talking! I hate them so much. God. I hate them so much.
Dodge is dead. Red is dead. So it's just Stick.
He's like so old. He's older than Leafstar.
He had more babies with Evil Velvet.
No.
Evil Velvet. Shame.
She's not evil.
Out of all of the Velvets, she's the most evil.
Yeah.
Fine, but she's still not evil. She's next to Stick. Her biggest crime is doing everything she can to get away from Stick.
I don't really have an opinion on it. I kind of just like
taking the kids in the divorce, Sunny.
I mean, yes, she should have. I'm not arguing with that.
I kind of just got to a point with SkyClan's Destiny where I was just like, as soon as I got to Stick's chapters, I was just like, yeah, you were stealing Leafstar's Super Edition. I'm just gonna start flipping through these pages.
Well, there wasn't much to steal.
There wasn't much there. Yeah, exactly.
It was called SkyClan's Destiny, not Leafstar's Destiny.
Yeah, if we're not dealing with Stick, we're dealing with Sharpclaw. Anyway, on this book though, but still with Leafstar, shockingly similar to SkyClan's Destiny, Leafstar has once again been losing the trust of her clanmates who are divided against her. But I really like this, actually.
Well, they do have, like, the Badger thing, which is very similar to something that happened in Hawkwing's journey.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So going back to Akira's earlier question now. I think the thing that distinguishes Leafstar's lack of trust from her clanmates from other cats' lack of trust from her clanmates, other cats' lack of trust from their clanmates, in Tawnypelt and Nightheart and Violet Shine, is basically that her clanmates have good reason. That her clanmates are each bringing up good points and don't immediately start bullying her, but instead come over gradually after seeing more and more examples of her lacking competence. And each of them along the way make sure to point out continuously that she was a great leader and they will always be grateful to her, but she's getting to a point where she's her own worst enemy. And for that reason, they're stepping in. And I like that because it's agency actually taking advantage of the rules that they recently set in place. Yeah.
Well, I have some thoughts about that code change.
Yes, go right ahead.
I think it's kind of silly that they made this whole rule. They don't use it, and they finally use it, and then that's not actually the reason she gets demoted. She gets demoted because she steps down and because they bully her for so long.
Yeah. Dude, she's so right about that. I swear to God, I don't... See, I was like, okay, Hawkwing, like, that whole rule was contingent on, like, the deputy. Like, it has to be half the clan plus the deputy. And Hawkwing, I mean, I love Hawkwing, but he stood beside her in that moment only for... them to then like have her step down on her own. I don't understand. I don't know. Is Hawks
it's weird. It's weird how they hold the vote and then they just hold the vote again and again. Like,
yeah,
it's like, what's the point of having a vote if you can just like keep voting if you lose and keep voting and keep voting. But if you're the leader and you lose, then it's over. But if you're the challenger and you lose, you could just keep challenging over and over again. It's just like, it's not like really a law. It's not like a system. It's more just like a way to bully the leader.
Yeah, it's a device. It's totally a device that they're using to just kind of force things in a more hostile direction to kind of like add some stakes. And it's just like, okay, and then she steps down. Like, it's really unsatisfying, honestly.
I thought the wording and mechanics of the leader demotion rule was always stupid. At its best performance, when it's performing exactly how it was said to in the rule, it would just never demote any evil leaders ever. It wouldn't happen. So it was a rule that just did not seem like it was serving its own purpose. And like any of the Warrior Code, there's no specific rules and enforcement. They have a problem with how rules work as a basis. But with that said, in this particular case, and with the understanding that this arc is not the one that made that rule, I like the fact that it was used to show Leafstar how her continued actions were progressively turning more of her clanmates, not even against her, but towards the side of saying you should be an elder and not our leader. To the point that she was... Okay, I did not personally read it as her being bullied into her own demotion, but her realizing after examining her own behavior and reactions and her clanmates' impressions of her that stepping down should be her choice, that she wanted to do that instead of letting it draw out to be the leader's decisions.
Yeah, it's like, this feels more like a shame, sort of like, it's like too embarrassing to like, for her to step down. I mean, for her to like be voted out. So kind of just like, I don't know, it just seems like disgraceful in like a society that's like so obsessed with honor.
And I'm sure it is. Like,
I'm a little bit disappointed.
Go ahead.
I'm a little bit disappointed that they didn't choose to, privately do much talking to Leafstar before just kind of going all in on the public execution. I think that it was a little bit like, if these people are really looking out for her and really looking for her best interests as a person, then they probably should have, talked to her about in which ways she can in which ways she can perform her duties that are safer for her and safer for everyone before going all in on we're kicking out blind Leafstar. I mean, and I like that she's showing signs of age. I like that she's going blind. I think that if they have an angle here, it's the same angle as Grey Stripe's vow that old people can still be valuable. But I don't like the underhanded way in which it was handled. If they truly respect Leafstar, they shouldn't have all gone behind her back.
I agree. However, when's the last time that you can think of a warrior cat coming to another protagonist warrior cat and compassionately explaining their problems and giving them a chance to explain themselves?
Okay, but those protagonists are like, what, 1-year-old, 2-year-olds? We're talking about like a 15-year-old cat here, okay?
I don't know. The only way that the rule kind of just gets more and more useless as they kind of go on. Because, I mean, like, Bramblestar stepped down, Leafstar is stepping down, and it's like, wasn't the Starless Clan's like whole thing in the beginning that they were like changing the code, and then they just invent this totally useless rule that does like absolutely nothing, and they never utilize it ever.
And then also a Starless Clan sort of just implies that they only really care about what StarClan thinks anyway, or who is the rightful leader. So why even put it to the clans? Yeah. One other like minor thing about this like rule thing that also like added to the confusion was that in the original wording of the revised code, they said that 3/4 of your clan members, including the medicine cats, must agree. But in this book, they interpret it like weirdly. They say that the medicine cats had to vote with the challenger, which is not like written in the revised code at all. It seems like that they seem so they take away the medicine cat. Just it's medicine cat's right to like have a say in Leafstar's demotion.
I thought that the implication was that because the medicine cat needs to be one of the people who is on their side, like the medicine cat has to be one of the people voting for the demotion, that they basically have to go through the medicine cat first.
So is there in this book, does it talk about how the medicine cats are supporting?
I'm pretty sure it mentions them I can look.
I think God, what's her name? Why am I losing the name of the SkyClan medicine cat in my head right now?
Frecklewish or Fidget Flake.
She kind of like at the beginning, she's like, hey, like maybe like you should kind of like chill out with this, you know? But I think the thing with the rule is that it has to be like the majority of the medicine cats that have to agree in addition to the deputy for it to even go into effect. Man, does SkyClan, do they have more than one?
Frecklewish and Fidget Flake, yeah.
Fidget Flake, that's right. Yeah. So I don't really know if it is actually like both of them have to agree or if it's just one.
Okay, yes. Looking around where all the medicine cats were sitting
the
together.
The whole point is that deputy is not allowed to be part of this because it's not.
It would benefit them.
Oh yeah,
they don't want
them. Yeah.
Like it says at the end of the code, like the original code, the whole point is the deputy is not allowed to be involved because they can't do it to just become leader.
Exactly.
Yeah, this rule is just so stupid. I mean,
but the medicine cats can for
for whatever reason.
Apparently, it's all like on the medicine cats because they are. There's never been a bad medicine cat.
But if StarClan wants you to kick out the leader, who are you to refuse?
To be fair, the only people with any level of authority in the clan that isn't in line for leader is just 2 medicine cats, so...
Yeah. So Frecklewish specifically went to Leafstar a couple of times asking her to pretty please think things through because she was making a bunch of dangerous and reckless decisions.
Did Fidget Flake even like say anything?
He keeps being there. Every time they mention Frecklewish, it's Frecklewish and Fidget Flake.
That's exactly what I thought. Because I was like, I don't remember. That's why I was like struggling. I was like,
I especially love this one. Frecklewish and Fidget Flake are the SkyClan medicine cats, Alderheart began, dipping his head towards a mottled brown she-cat and a black and white tom. Greetings, Frecklewish mewed, the only SkyClan cat to be speaking. Fidget Flake does not speak for the rest of the scene.
I found Fidget Flake talking. He says, we'll get you some poppy seeds. Fidget Flake.
Oh yeah, at the beginning of the book. At the beginning of the book where they're giving Bella Leaf poppy seeds so she can.
No, this is late. This is late. In the book.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. He also says, let's hurry and get you to the medicine cat den.
Well done, Fidget Flake.
Yeah, everything's a stock medicine cat phrase. Don't move. Be as still as you can. Like, he's just talking about, like, medicine cat stuff over and over again.
He's just Frecklewish, too.
He's not... Oh, no. He complains about the mess around the moon pool.
Oh.
So he's got,
he's a neat freak, Frecklewish.
Yeah, okay, we got him. We got him down. We got him pegged.
Yeah. I hope this isn't Whistlebreeze's fate, too.
I would hate that so much.
They gotta kill Kestrel Flight eventually. Like, that guy is so... Like, not even the other cats like him.
Yeah, exactly here. Okay. Will it be more comfortable for me or comfortable for all of you if I retire to the Elder's Den? Leafstar asks. Her question was met with awkward silence. That isn't fair, Frecklewish protested, a look of genuine sorrow in her eyes. Surely we're allowed to look out for you. Isn't that what I'm supposed to do as a medicine cat? And that's really the only thing that Leafstar listens to in this moment is Frecklewish being such a kind and thoughtful medicine cat, and that's the reason that she wants to demote her. Fidget Flake is not in the scene. Again.
God, okay, Fidget Flake, do something! Do something, man! This is your clan!
For one of the 2 cats responsible for, like, leading the vote against Leafstar, he sure, exists.
Had nothing.
Well, don't worry.
Had absolutely nothing.
When it really counts, Fidget Flake will do something. He'll walk vaguely in the direction of the challenger, indicating his approval of Leafstar's demotion. That counts as characterization, right?
Apparently.
I thought being a medicine cat would make it so I didn't have to make decisions.
Poor Fidget Flake, man. I don't even what does this guy do ever?
He didn't even need to, like, exist. Because, like, Hawkwing's journey, like, got rid of him in Frecklewish.
Yeah.
I kinda, sorta, a little bit liked him in Hawkwing's journey. That was kind of the only place he ever had characterization.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, no, wasn't, God, I'm trying to remember Hawkwing's journey.
He was Fidget Paw at the time was looking into maybe becoming Frecklewish's apprentice, and then suddenly had to take on all of the duties almost by himself because Frecklewish was gone, Echo Song was gone. Congrats, bud, you're our only medicine cat.
He show in Sky, the recent book Sky,
Mhm.
and he goes on a journey with the weird ragtag group of cats to
Oh
where.
my God, he was there.
Yeah.
And
He was there.
after that book came out, I saw two entirely separate pieces of Root Spring and Fidget Flake shipping art, so there must have been something that happened in that book.
What?
I don't remember a single. I know he was there. He was the medicine cat for the patrol, but I didn't remember any moment of characterization, let alone with Root Spring.
I don't either. I don't remember a thing. I just remember seeing the shipping art.
Okay.
This has got to be like a Mandela effect thing. Like the timelines are converging here. You know.
I mean, okay. This is the one time I'm going to do it. Hey, you out there listening. If you happen to be someone who remembers anything noteworthy the Fidget Flake did in, what was this, Thunder?
Or any book at all.
Or any book,
book
really. Leave it in the comments so I can share with my friends and we can be slightly less ignorant to this.
He's on the cover of the book. He's on the cover of Sky.
Well, yeah, but I thought
Oh.
that was just because he was on the journey, not because he did anything.
I thought they just
Yeah,
needed
I'm
a
just
reason to
saying
call
he
the book
was in the
Sky.
book.
Yeah, no, Akira's right. They did just need a reason to call it Sky, and I mean, if
Someone had to be there.
yeah, I mean, they just start naming those cats on the cover anyway, whatever they want, regardless of what they look like.
The question wasn't if or not the book Sky is named appropriately. The question is if or not Fidget Flake does something, and I'm sure he does somewhere in Sky.
I
something
believe
useful.
you, but all I know about Fidget Flake and Sky is he is on the journey. He is definitely
Look at how
there.
ugly he is.
He is a very ugly
Look
boy.
at how blatantly ugly this cat is.
That is a
Oh
very
yeah, that's
ugly
right.
boy.
He's the really ugly one on the cover. That's right. Oh God, things just keep getting worse and worse for him, man.
Oh gosh, 132 matches for him in Sky.
You're joking.
Well, he was
You're
there in
joking.
all of Nightheart and Sunbeam's Journey chapters, so I'm sure his name came up a lot.
Yeah, now I'm trying to find Root Spring shipping art that I saw like 3 years ago, so let's move on.
Yeah. So one last thing in Leafstar's general story, and partially because Leafstar got the fewest amount of chapters and was cut off early. So it sounds like Hawkstar is happening. How do you feel about that?
I feel like this is like the de facto Moonkitti question. Like, how many times have you said that you love Hawkwing? Ooh,
I
pray
wonder how
tell.
Moonkitti feels about this.
I do wonder how
That's
Moonkitti
exactly
feels.
what I was-
I like how Hawkwing is a character who, despite being kind of like, he's kind of like that like confused boy archetype that they like using, you know, that kind of like,
Yeah.
not even that they like using, because the new team really likes soft, like innocent, like idiot boys. They don't really like big strong boys like Vicky did. But Hawkwing is kind of like a big strong boy, but by the new team, which I guess is a little bit Grey Wing adjacent to some extent. Hawkwing's a bit like Grey Wing, but what makes me like Hawkwing is mostly just that he's funny. Like, I think that him being extremely just having, I'm sorry, there's a cat eating food behind me, out of a puzzle feeder. But like Hawkwing being extremely defensive and dense and stupid and stressed out and always making the wrong decision and always going for the wrong thing and always having like being very, very strong-headed about things that shouldn't necessarily be correct for any given reason. I just think that he's really funny in that aspect. I think that in his book, in Hawkwing's Journey, he's kind of like this brick wall that bad things happen to, and I enjoy that from like an almost like comedic level, like he's a Looney Tunes character. And ever since we've gotten out of his perspective, he's just been kind of generically good, and I'm not really interested in this generically good character. I'm interested in Sad Kronk, or whatever the heck he is in Hawkwing's Journey.
That is a great description, actually. I had never in my mind compared Hawkwing to Kronk, but that's amazing.
He's not really nice enough to be Kronk.
No.
I wouldn't argue that he's actually that much like Kronk, but like it's hard to describe the kinds of character by pulling in others to really tell, because it's such a Warrior Cat specific personality archetype. It's like if Grey Wing just kept falling downstairs and it was funny.
Fair. I'm kind of on the neutral end about Hawkstar as a concept. Because he only ever had characterization in Hawkwing's journey, I have a feeling that he's just going to be the next Hair Star, probably the next Ice Star, where he's just going to be whoever the authors need him to be in the moment.
There is a quote. I was like looking through the Fidget Flake mentions, just when there's a like part where Root Spring's talking about Bristlefrost and Fidget Flake is there.
Impressive.
For
he was
Fidget Flake,
there for an
honestly.
entire protagonist conversation.
He's like, he says to Root Spring, because of your suffering, no cat will ever have to make that choice again. And when in response to how like because of the Warrior Code, they didn't get Root Spring and Bristlefrost didn't get to spend time to each other before it was too late. So Fidget Flake like steps in. It's like it's comforting Root Spring, sort of.
Okay, I was going to make a point, but it's entirely off topic and it's about broken code again. So I'm just gonna not.
Yeah. So Hawkwing? Question mark.
Hawkwing, Hawkstar, yes.
Yes. So Sunny, I kind of get what you're saying, where like you feel like they're kind of just gonna make him really super generic, but Hawkwing's journey wasn't like the only book that he kind of like existed in. You got to remember, like A Vision of Shadows, like he was, Twig Branch and Violet Shine's
Fair.
like actual father.
Yes.
And that like that the whole thing with him there was that he was wanting to step up for his kids because of how Pebbleshine disappeared, and honestly it's frankly a miracle that he's even reunited with his kids in the first place. And I feel like that's fairly consistent with how he acts in Hawkwing's journey, and I feel like that kind of carries over more so into this book as well. And to Moonkitty's like Looney Tunes kind of thing with him, that's what I love about him too, because like you guys remember in I think it was Star, when it was Star, when they raided the ShadowClan camp, and they just like all let Hawkwing beat the absolute crap out of Podlight for like no reason, and then they all like step back and they just let Hawkwing just absolutely destroy Podlight, and like that, I love that man.
Yeah, they unleashed the Tasmanian devil on him.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
My brain was admittedly pretending that the Hawkwing sections of A Vision of Shadows were part of Hawkwing's journey, which is not correct. It's been more a post-Avos thing. Did Hawkwing talk to Violet Shine ever in this book?
No.
Did Violet Shine talk in this book? Actually, that's what I want to know.
Yes, she did. She talked like 3 times.
Oh wow!
And it was like at the gathering, and she's like, "No, we're SkyClan. We need food."
Her name appears 5 whole times.
Yeah. Typical Warrior Cat's background character moment. At least more times than Twig Branch has ever spoke.
She thinks that Leafstar is experienced and should be taken seriously. She thinks that other clans are selfish. She is in camp once. She loves Leafstar. She loves Leafstar deeply, but she thinks Leafstar should retire. Won't it be more comfortable in the Elder's Den? And she technically walks beside Hawkwing once. That's the fatherly bond you know and love.
Dude, you know what really gets me is that like Needleclaw is like her kid, and now she's like a grandma, dude. Like that's kind of like astounding to me that we have gotten to this point now
Great
where
Grandpa
we're talking
Hawkwing.
Yeah, great Grandpa Hawkwing and cats that the new team have created are now grandparents. Like how old are we gonna get, guys?
I know I'm an advocate for seeing these characters as human beings, but like a cat can become a grandparent in like 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of mean like
become a
more so.
grandparent in 8 months.
Yeah, well, it's kind of like just a generational thing, the way I was kind of interpreting it, just kind of seeing it kind of progress to this point. It's kind of
like SparkPelt is a grandma now, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh god.
At this point, like, it's less for me about are there generations, are cats grandparents or not, and more, do they have any continued relationship with their kin?
Yeah, I feel like I don't know. Is Hawkwing really like a good example of that? Like I don't really know.
He stands next to Violet Shine exactly once.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's kind of weird though, because like Twig Branch's whole thing is like she's peacing out because she like still loved ThunderClan, And like I don't know, like ironically enough, I still feel like Hawkwing has spoken more to Twig Branch, even though she lives in a completely different clan. She was only with like SkyClan like as soon as they were settling into the lake, and that was like it.
Yeah, as far as Hawkwing as leader, I do in fact think that he's just going to assume a generically responsible role until they feel the need to have some sort of antagonistic force within the leadership positions, and then Hawkwing is just going to act like Hairstar.
Yeah.
But for now, he's going to assume the position, he's going to be generically responsible, and everyone's going to respect him. And then maybe in an arc or maybe in 2 arcs, he's going to be Hairstar forever.
Yep.
I hope not. God, Hawkwing, I pray for your future.
Are there any other Leafstar third of book thoughts before we move on to...
There's very little that actually happened within the Leafstar chapters.
There's very little that happened with anyone.
Yeah.
There's a lot more to talk about with the other 2, though.
Oh, I guess I kind of like had like a vague note at the beginning where, God, I'm bringing up the prey thing again. But she was gonna have what is it? So she was gonna have somebody else like test the prey to like eat it to like be sure if it was like actually like tainted or not or whatever. And it's like, Leafstar, like, girl, you have lives, and you're just like letting your clanmates eat this like potentially poisonous food when you could just like take one from the team and for the team and just respawn, you know?
I thought the question wasn't will you eat this prey, but did you eat this prey?
No, I think they separated the pile, and they were gonna have one of them like test to see if like it was edible or not, and like I think that was like after they had already split it up, because it was like the same thing with like in the new prophecy where like the prey was like frail and they like all kind of looked the same as like the cats that were sick with the same thing as well, but they were concerned about like the rest of the prey like not like presenting those symptoms and still being sick. And then I think like some random guy just like offered to do it, and Leafstar was like, yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, it was Fidget Flake who replied. He had padded up in time to hear Leafstar's despairing question. Look, we've separated the prey into pieces that look sick and the ones that still look healthy, he mewed, pointing with his tail at the 2 separate piles. We could try eating the healthy-looking prey, cautiously, with Frecklewish and me watching. That sounds sensible, Hawkwing agreed. I don't mind giving it a go. I'm strong, and if I get sick, I should be able to withstand it. He approached the pile of healthy prey, gave it a deep sniff, and extracted a mouse. He eats it. It seems okay so far. And then Leafstar looks at this and realizes that her clan is waiting for Hawkwing rather than her to come up with a plan. But Leafstar was not technically involved in that decision.
Yeah, Fidget Flake. You go, Fidget Flake. Thank you.
Yeah,
Fidget Flake did that. Fidget Flake organized the prey piles.
Yeah,
nice
but
job,
it doesn't
buddy.
sound like Leafstar had any sort of inclination to not take one for the team or anything like that.
She just stared at him and thought, wow.
Went to go before she had a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Giving Hawkwing eating it too? That's like, dude, that's your deputy. Like,
One more. He's willing to take one for the team. Go on, sorry.
Sorry. Oh, yeah, one more Leafstar point that we didn't mention yet. She has a vision towards the end of the book about...
Yeah, she does.
For a moment, Leafstar tried to cling to the shreds of her dream, to the image of the 2 boulders in the dark space between. She didn't understand it. All the other scenes had been part of her past, but she couldn't recall this last one.
We didn't mention her dreams, like, at all.
Yeah.
We kind of like vaguely touched on it as like, you know, like
when we were talking about possible gorge travels.
Yeah, it's just a framing device. I think it's kind of like a red herring at the beginning where they're like, oh, we should just send a vision straight to one of the leaders, and then it's like Tawnypelt ends up hearing the thing from Blue Star. So like, did we forget that like that was even said? Probably. So
they're trying to like make you guess whether it was Tawnypelt or Leafstar, because they said that, and they also said someone with like experience or something.
Yeah, experience in a journey like this.
So they're trying to make you guess between the 2, basically, and then they went to Tawnypelt.
Yeah.
They frame Leafstar's dreams not as visions so much as nightmares until the boulders.
Yeah.
Like, essentially she's having these reoccurring dreams that she's back at the gorge and all of these dead people are alive, and she's like she's like having some sort of like time of peace before suddenly it's interrupted by reality over and over and over again until that last vision. I'm not really sure what the team wanted us to see in most of that, so much as just like Leafstar is old, she's nostalgic, she's losing touch to some extent. But I don't know, maybe the last one means they're gonna go live in a cave.
Does it have to do with Galestar?
It's probably I think it connects to Tawnypelt's vision, where they're saying that she's going out into the darkness they're like going into they're traveling to a place where StarClan won't be able to help them.
Metaphorical boulders.
Cave.
Because it says a dark space, and then the Tawnypelt's vision is also about the darkness, and like basically just like they're gonna, in between their destination and their origin, there's going to be a place where StarClan can't really speak to them probably.
They're going to start living in the tunnels underground.
Yeah, they're going to bring back tunneling to Windland.
Of course.
Yeah, that's what I took out of it. Either that or she's going to die.
Thank you. Well, yeah. One or the other.
Or both.
Thank you for bringing that up, though, because I had completely forgotten that was an element of the story.
I'm all in for the clans go spelunking. I want them all to get lost in a cave. I think that's going to be a much more interesting traveling book than seeing any trampolines whatsoever.
Yeah, because they kind of like
shorthand for random two-leg object that needs to be described with
yes.
words.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, they kind of just like stopped pretending that the quarry existed once like Leaf Will like died. Like, is that like where did that go? It's just like something that's just like never.
They live in the quarry, the ThunderClan quarry. That's where they live. Oh yeah, that's their house.
That's their house. They just often call it the Hollow instead.
Oh, dude. Oh, okay. I'm not like the type of guy that's like looking at
the quarry is their camp. They just don't like. I don't think they've ever referred to it as a quarry because they don't know what that is. They're cats.
Oh yeah, that would make sense. That would make sense.
Shall we move on to the half-faced tortoiseshell she-cat apprentice that we now have? One Miss Moonpaw.
I would love to. Stole
my aesthetic.
Dude, I was gonna say
stole the moon-shaped ear curls. Stole it from me. No, I don't care.
One of the first things that I wrote down was like, I was going to ask, like, how do you feel about being like 2 letters off of a name drop? Like in like the first, like Moonpaw's first chapter when she's still a kit, Moonkit.
It's an inevitability. If you put anything in your name that resembles kit after a noun, it's just going to happen eventually. There's no escape.
It's true.
It's interesting that they're reusing the moon name. I think that it's good because it means that kids are going to stop stabbing each other over using the moon name. Based on an author interview that came out after there was already a moon something in the books, where they said, yeah, we were considering not doing it, but then we did. So, whatever. Obviously, they changed Moonstar to Blue Star early on, but we learned that long after there was Moonflower, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, I'm glad that there's a Moonkit now. I'm glad that there's a tortoiseshell protagonist.
That's what I care more about.
We have never had a point of view character that was a tortie, and up until this point, people just kept making random cats torties in an unrecognizable way.
Please make your Bristlefrosts gray again. Please make your Bristlefrosts gray again.
It's okay, Sunny. She's come back.
Nightheart is black. He has black fur. Just black.
I've recovered. Moonpaw healed me.
Yeah. I'm floored with Moonpaw's design. I love that Moonpaw looks like Moonpaw. I love that Moonpaw is named Moonpaw. I'm gonna hold my tongue about her characterization because I want people who like Moonpaw to talk about Moonpaw first.
Ooh, who wants to go first? Is that anybody except for me?
Akira?
Hey, I like that she's funny. Are we talking about the ghost later, or are we talking about not the ghost first?
I vote for ghost communism.
There is technically a later bullet point specifically about Ghost. But part of my problem with her characterization is that it's impossible to talk about her without talking about Ghost. So
she's
go ahead.
It's like you took like all the weird cats, like you took like Hollyleaf, you take Shadowsight, you take some other like characters, you just mash them all into one thing, and it's Moonpaw.
Yeah, that's kind of that was kind of my initial reaction too, because I think their whole deal with her like the archetype of character that she's like coming to, like whatever, the way that they wrote her is basically what I'm trying to say, is that she's basically just like the generic like apprentice, like that sort of archetype, but the only twist is the voice, which like I kind of see it working like both ways. It could either be like a really good thing or a really like bad thing. And I kind of like that it's more so like this is like the first like actual. I don't know. I guess Hollyleaf like she did kill like Ash for and all that stuff and whatever you would say about I don't know Ivy Pool's anger, which is very tangentially related. I don't know why I haven't said that. Anyway, but I kind of like the fact that it's like a protagonist that like can finally like be a villain that's like not like Clear Sky, and like I would.
Bold of you. It's bold of you to assume they're gonna like do anything with her that's even remotely not like objectively morally correct.
I hope that they finally like break down that and we start getting some like Greywing and Hollyleaf characters back into these books.
It's gonna be Frostpaw 2. It's Frostpaw 2. Frostpaw Part 2.
I feel like my entire body just like shivered in horror when you compared Greywing with Hollyleaf.
Oh, come on, dude. People bring that up all the time. I mean, like, how many other morally great characters do we got?
Greywing was never intended to be morally
Greywing was
great
supposed
by
to be
the
a nice
authors,
guy.
Ever.
Yeah,
Anything that
that's
Greywing
right.
does is an accident. Anything he does bad is the authors just being like, "Woo, we did this." It's not even close. You'd be closer saying that Clear Sky was a gray morality.
Well, in my own personal interpretation, I think we all read the way that Greywing was written, and regardless of what the authors intended, he kind of comes across as a little bit of a jerk sometimes. And I don't know. I just
you're
like.
wrong. He's a jerk all the time, but like, just I think okay. When I say gray morality for any reason, like I am always implying that the authors had intention for gray morality, because I do not think that gray morality can exist without the author's intention. I do not think that that's like maybe in like a distant future where you're interpreting the book in an English class, gray morality can exist without author intention. But in a book like Warrior Cats, where we can plainly and clearly see what the author wanted you to think within the text without, because we don't have outside sources telling us what the author thinks. We know blatantly what the author thinks about Greywing, and it is not that he is gray morality, it's that he's gray pelt.
Yeah.
I kind of disagree to that point, but we need to get back to Moonpaw.
Yes.
But I would love to see like the voice like actually like steer her like in the direction of becoming evil, instead of it kind of just existing as like an entity like that like technically can exist like outside of her, with what happened with her leading those kits to the tree or whatever, just to kind of like prove that she was real. But I feel like this is like one of like the singular plot elements like in this book that I'm like actually interested in seeing them fully develop, because there's a lot of potential for them to like have that villain character, whether or not that's voluntary, on Moonpaw's part, as far as how much the voice could like actually do, is another thing. But it's refreshing to kind of see them not just kind of repeat like the same like 3 protagonist thing, where it's just like kind of everybody's like kind of always good, and I just want to see them explore this.
I think Moonpaw's still going to be good, and it's just the voice that's going to be like troublesome.
Mm-hmm. Which I suppose is the segue into my feelings. This is not going to earn me any friends, but now that we know that the voice is distinctly not Moonpaw and a separate being who is connected to Moonpaw, Moonpaw herself is not endearing to me yet. She certainly could be. She's still an apprentice. She can go anywhere. Maybe she ends up... she's not going to, but maybe she ends up siding with her voice and she turns evil. Maybe she ends up finding that neither the warrior path or the medicine cat path is working for her. Maybe she goes off and joins another clan. Maybe she makes best friends with Glean Kit and they run around having raucous adventures while the clans are torn down. There are lots of directions you could go that I would like, but as of right now, there isn't enough, I guess, core characterization for me to latch on to her. Her story, absent of the voice, is essentially that she was trying to... I'm leaning into the next plot a little, the next point a little bit as well. But she was trying to find a path. Does she want to be a medicine cat? Does she want to be a warrior? What's going to get her the least attention in the clan? What is going to actually work the best for her? Both as a medicine cat and as a warrior, she was honestly doing fine. The only thing that kept tripping her up was her voice, but like she was able to easily latch on to memorizing herbs. She found it enjoyable to start listing them off. She was able to hunt pretty well and fight pretty well, as long as the voice wasn't intruding on her focus. She got along well with all of her mentors. She hypothetically gets along with her den mates, even though they barely talk. She is willing to do whatever feels right in the moment. She'll go wherever she feels needed. But it's really hard for me to tell at this point what her actual goals are. What does she want for herself? What are relationships that is important to her? How does she think of herself outside of weird cat with a voice in my head? Like, who is she without her voice is my question.
I go ahead, Akira.
Oh yeah, that's why I was like comparing her to like Frostpaw and Shadowsight, where it's like it seems like the plot takes like is over
supersedes
super whatever over the her character, like as a her whatever, like her character traits. I think there is like some characterization in there. I think she's like, I don't know. A lot of it's just like, oh, she's just a immature little apprentice who does kid things.
She's nice. She's agreeable. She enjoys when Jayfeather likes her. Mm-hmm. Cool. She enjoys when she does things well and doesn't enjoy when she doesn't do things well. Great.
Well, I mean, she's kind of a little like airheaded too, but that's partially because of the voice, like making her lose concentration all the time.
Okay, I'm gonna argue that this isn't even a bad thing. I don't care who Moonpaw is without the voice. I'm interested in Moonpaw because of her relationship with the voice, and it doesn't matter to me almost whatsoever how like well she's characterized without something that's essentially a permanent fixture of herself, Like, to say that she's nothing without something that's actually kind of part of her is, like, I don't really, like, it's kind of like saying, like, oh yeah, like, if we take out this big chunk of Hollyleaf's character, she's less of a character, It's not like, it doesn't matter to me that the voice is such a domineering part of her experience, because that's interesting and I like reading about her interactions with it. I like thinking about, say, how is she going to react to this? How is she going to overcome this? I think that the voice is actually a very interesting obstacle for a child to have in Warrior Cats.
It's an interesting obstacle. I fully agree with that. It's just because the voice is not her. Because we know that the voice is not literally her. It's not giving away any spoilers here. It's her sister that is connected to her. I know now a lot of character traits of her sister, and I don't necessarily know any of her traits bouncing off of that.
And another problem is like the voice isn't like there's a stretch where the voice just is silent and she has to do stuff on her own.
Okay, to that point, first of all, I would like to say, like, I totally agree with Moon on this. I don't feel like there is ever going to be any separation between the two, like, until we get so far into, like, the arc that there's, like, actually a chance for Moonpaw to, like, actually be written as a character without that element kind of tying so inherently into her. But to Akira's point, oh my god, I forgot what she said. What did you just say, Akira?
What I just said 2 seconds ago?
Yes.
I wish I could tell you.
I forgot. Dude, I just got diagnosed with ADHD now.
Moonpaw has, in which Moonpaw is doing duties for Jayfeather and Alderheart in the medicine den, and really wants to prove herself as a medicine cat. And the voice is pretty much entirely silent the entire time that she's doing that, probably because it's disinterested.
Yes. It's because I don't know if you guys like had noticed, but like the more like Moonpaw started doing things that were like related to like StormClan, like the less that the voice was like actually like appearing. Whenever she tries to become a medicine cat, the voice hates that. The voice absolutely hates that, because then, you know, you think about it, Moonpaw is going to establish, you know, that could potentially mean that she establishes a connection with StormClan. And then in the very beginning, when it is first noted that the voice isn't there, it is when she is becoming an apprentice. She's going through, you know, like a ceremony that is like so inherently sacred. You know, it's like they've been doing it since, you know, they've been in the clans, you know, and I think that really makes it interesting. And when you think about Moonpaw being dragged into the moon pool, that kind of like harkens back to the broken code, you know, like how they were able to get to the dark forest in the first place was going into the moon pool, like actually like entering to cross between, you know, the planes. And I hope to that point that it's going to be like she is like the voice, a decisively evil force that kind of steers Moonpaw towards that direction as much as she can.
Okay. Well, hold up though, because I don't think that it's necessarily because of any sort of StormClan thing that the voice starts avoiding any element. Like I think that that's a pretty big stretch. Because first of all, if that was really the case that she was avoiding StormClan specifically, I think that the voice wouldn't have, you know, even shown up at the moon pool. I don't think that the voice would have, like, she didn't push her in. She scared her in. She was like, oh,
yeah,
and she fell in. Like, that was not a push. And the voice being silent while she's doing medicine cat duties really just makes it seem like the voice is super, super bored, because the voice is just complaining all the time. Like, hey, like, like, you're not supposed to be a medicine cat. We're not destined to be a medicine cat. Stop being a medicine cat right now. Like, whenever she talks to her about it, and it's not really like it doesn't really seem StormClan connected. It just seems like the voice doesn't want to be doing that.
The voice is immature. The voice just wants to be doing fun stuff all the time, and the voice doesn't notice or care about consequences, which is where its evil seems to come from at this point.
Don't get me wrong, it would be really funny if it was Maple Shade.
Okay. So I wanted to those are all very good points. I wanted to bring this up actually as well. So do you guys remember in like, it was like as soon as Moonpaw like became an apprentice, like the voice had like a throwaway line about like the like hearing a fox or something, and then a lion blaze, and who was it? It was some started with a B. I don't know. They were then like actually like attacked by the fox. Do you guys think there's any correlation there, or that was just kind of like vague, like foreshadowing that was just kind of like placed as like an offhanded comment to kind of set the stage for that happening?
I think she flies around all day and looks at stuff. I think that she
Probably
just goes around and she looks at stuff and she like eavesdrops on people's gossip and stuff.
She's in a liminal ghost realm.
I never thought about it that way, as the voice, like when it's not like there, that she could be leaving and doing other things. That's actually that's really interesting.
Yeah, that's what happens with Sunnyfall.
Yeah. That is exactly what happens. But I didn't draw the connection there whatsoever as to why.
Well, she mentions in the end how essentially she lives in another world. I'm guessing, but I don't know, that it's the same plane, world, realm that Bramblestar inhabited while he was out of his body, while the ghosts were out of their bodies. Yeah, and that she just lives there in space and roams about and watches things and can't really interact with anyone but Moonpaw.
See, that makes me wonder as well, like how that relates to Tree and Root Spring. You know, if she is like actually a ghost, like not only do we have like a SkyClan POV this arc, I feel like, I don't know, I'm hoping that it's not like further into like this arc that Tree is like magically gonna be able to see her, because like why, you know, would he not like start freaking out if he saw
Tree is going to save everyone.
Just like
I think Tree's powers are like inconsistent sometimes, because I think like only Root Spring was able to see Bramblestar and not Tree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there have been cats that only Root Spring could see. There have been cats only Tree can see.
I guess it's just kind of one of those things we're just gonna have to wait.
So it's gonna depend on whether or not
it's ghost. You more Root Spring ghost.
It's gonna depend on whether or not it serves the plot, if they can see the ghosts or not.
True.
Okay. I guess this is like my entire problem. The voice itself, the voice's traits and the voice's realm and the voice's connection are all super interesting, and I want to know more about them. And the voice themselves is a very interesting type of antagonist, where at this moment they seem to be driven entirely off of immaturity, a desire for fun, and complete ignorance to what pain is like. But for me to really enjoy the voice's relationship with Moonpaw specifically, I also want to have enough of a grasp on Moonpaw's character as an individual that I could see how they would bounce off of each other. Like, I'm not saying Moonpaw, that the voice is a completely distinct, ignorable part of Moonpaw's character. It's obviously a massive part. But because it is a separate character, because this is a key relationship rather than a facet of herself, I want to know who Moonpaw is so that I can, in the future, gauge her reactions to the voice. I want to see more interactions where, like, she and the voice speak openly even, so that I can gauge both of their traits rather than just the voices.
Yeah, you're totally right. It absolutely depends on like how they choose to take this character, whether or not we're actually going to see like Moonpaw for Moonpaw, or if it's just going to keep being like she's a generic character and then the voice is like also here.
This is something that could all change. Right now, this was an introductory book that was here to show us Moonpaw has a cool voice. And we learned that. Moonpaw definitely has a cool voice. If they decide to give Moonpaw character or struggle or witty interactions with the voice that give us a sense of who she is, I'll be overjoyed. Sounds great. It's just at this exact moment, I don't know enough about this character.
I think that's like might be intentional to some level. Because they may like have a certain amount of ideas they have with the voice, but they're very like holding back on a lot of like the big reveals so they can pace it out over the arc. They don't even give us the name of the voice, even though they obviously could have in like one sentence when they were explaining it to Moonpaw at the end.
I guess if I was writing this book, I'd just, in knowing that I want to hold off the voice as a big plot point, I would try to focus more on Moonpaw's key characteristics so that now, as we weave in things about the voice, you can understand how this character Moonpaw we know really well will react to the voice. But, yeah, warriors.
Yeah.
They name even their stillborn kittens, don't they?
Yeah.
They should
the
stop
website
doing
does.
That. It's weird. No.
But most of the stillborn kits live in StarClan, though. What's wrong with the voice?
Stillborn kits, what's wrong with the voice, besides it being maple shade, definitely. It just had such a strong spirit, Sunny. It had such a strong spirit that it clung on to Moonpaw and it never let go with its little claws. Or they're gonna reveal but not reveal that she is a chimera later, and it was just a fake out, and there was a second kit who died, and she's in StarClan. Little Crescent Kit is in StarClan, and this is Wax Kit, the kit that wasn't even conceived.
I don't know if I'd like that. I don't know if
I think I genuinely like the sister take more than the alternatives, because making the voice a split off part of Moonpaw gets really close to dissociative identity disorder, which I don't trust them to do well.
Well, I'm not saying that it would be good. I'm just saying that's very likely that it's just a red herring that they presented us with, that it's the other kid to begin with.
But then how do you explain the kits even like being able to like disappear in the first place if it is like actually like a dissociative like identity disorder thing? How would that even happen? I guess it's
not.
kind of
it's not like even if they wrote it would never actually be dissociative identity disorder.
They would never intentionally do that.
Yeah, but
it just comes close.
I'm thinking more to the effect like, when would Moonpaw be able to do these things that the voice is doing in between the chapters? Is it just like when she sleeps or something?
Yeah, because if you consider it, she's always tired. She's always waking up tired. Like,
oh my God,
every
you're so
single
right.
time. So whatever she's doing, like even the kit being in the tree, I'm pretty sure it was Moonpaw's body that did that. Like, I'm pretty sure
because they saw Moonpaw leaving.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure that it was the thing taking over Moonpaw's body while she sleeps. Is basically what's been happening for this entire book.
That doesn't mean that they're the same person, same kid.
No. But I was responding to Hawk's question as to why, as to what, like what the thing was doing with her body, not in reference to dissociative identity disorder that they would never actually write.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
I don't know, I feel like that's a really insightful point, Moonkitti, because like why else would they mention that she's like so tired all the time unless, they were like swapping possession of her body. I mean, I guess
I do think that it's a ghost possessing her. Like regardless of what's going on, this is a ghost.
Which feeds into the existing ghost lore they've done. Bramblestar was able to be possessed by Ashfur, who was a ghost. Firestar could possess Rootspring because he was a ghost. So realistically, Kitten should be able to possess Moonpaw because she's a ghost.
Yeah, that's also kind of why that's why Alderheart is like so like scared of it when she tries to bring up the voice to him in the first place. He kind of like freezes because he kind of vagues, that connection between like Ashfur and like how he was inhabiting, Bramblestar and talking to Shadow Sight. But it just, I don't know. I really don't like whenever they do these ghost things just by the fact of like how inconsistent like it relates to like Tree and Rootspring's like actual abilities. Like it's just, I don't know, it's kind of a toss up.
I'm willing to bet that Tree and or Rootspring, probably Rootspring because they're favoring him lately, is going to see this ghost at some point though.
But see that's the point though, is like she was brought to like her first gathering and like they were chanting her name. Like either like Rootspring and Tree were just like looking in the other direction, or like
Well, no. Where do you think the thing is? Like, do you think it's like always right behind her, or is it like could it just be another cat in the crowd? Like, are they gonna be like looking at all of the cats gathering and being like, oh yeah, I'm cataloging all these cats to make sure none of them are ghosts?
yeah, because in whenever she sees the voice for the first time, it's through the reflection of the water, and she's just like over her shoulder. So I wonder if, I don't really know. It's kind of just, again, it's just one of those things where you just gotta wait.
There's a bunch of different directions they could take this story, from the neutral to the amazing to the really, really bad, and I'm just hoping they go with one of the better options.
I was tired of all the fan theories that it's her other half. They're both Moonpaw.
Yeah, no.
She's a chimera cat, guys.
Guys, it's her sister.
I've been trying so hard to fight back with the comments. The comments won't stop.
Well, because as soon as people heard the word chimera and the website, they were already on the, oh my goodness, she has her dead sister and her dead other self-cell inhabiting her body.
She absorbed her twin. Guys.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think...
Because that's how chimerism totally works, guys.
Yeah, I don't think they know how like that works at all. they have no idea. They kind of just
knows
use
how
it.
chimera works, but
I
don't think they're going to use it.
They're not going for that.
Yeah.
It's just like a design choice.
Well, the Warrior Cats website is the one that presented us with the word chimera.
Chimera, exactly.
Yeah,
but she does have one eye of two different colors, which could imply they kind of know what's going on there. But like the thing is that obviously we don't have enough information, but I do think that it's entirely possible the dead sibling, the dead kitten is just them throwing something out, and that's going to be a different dead kitten. But like the website also listed off like several traits of Moonpaw that never show up in the book at all. Mm-hmm. So like as anticipated. So it's really just up in the air on that aspect. I don't think that we have anything definitive that says like that this isn't going to be related to chimerism, just because it seems like they were advertising her as a chimera cat. And I do not think that the website editor doesn't know what a chimera is and doesn't understand chimerism. Regardless of if or not the team does is up in the air, but I do not think that the website editor was purposefully misleading.
I would agree, yeah.
Next bullet point, it's Medicine Cat versus Warrior Path.
That's correct. My intention with this one was discussing, do we think she's going to end up as a medicine cat or a warrior?
I don't care.
Yeah, I don't really care either. I gotta say.
Yeah.
I mean, they already switched to warrior
Back to
at the
warrior
end, right?
again, yeah.
I think it's like a Holy Paw situation. I think it's one switch.
I would prefer it to be one switch.
Especially Jay Feather's not gonna let her back in.
True.
He told her that at the end.
It kind of sucks too, because I'm like, I was missing Jay Feather. Let's get more Jay Feather, right, guys? Let's just get more Jay Feather crammed in there.
Jay Feather was shockingly good in this book, like better than he's been in a non-POV book for a while.
It's the next topic.
Yes, it is. So let's
We're already moving
very
on.
quick.
Let's go.
Jay Feather and Alderheart characterizations this time around. They have them.
It's shocking. A character that's not a protagonist having a personality.
It's like consistent and likable.
Of course, it's Jay Feather.
I'll note that that's something that I really did enjoy about this book is that they gave the characters room to breathe that they don't usually have, in that they had downtime that wasn't, oh no, there's a crisis, here's a second crisis, here's a third crisis. I mean, okay, SkyClan was kind of in second crisis, third crisis mode, but when you look at ThunderClan, you're looking at a situation where a lot of cats were just kind of relaxing, they were just kind of being themselves, and they actually had a chance to kind of interact and do normal things and do warrior cat things, and it was kind of Power of Three-ish in that aspect, and I did appreciate it.
Yeah, that's why I brought up. Sorry,
go
Sunny.
right ahead.
That's why I brought up at the beginning, like the flow. That's what I meant. I know I kind of my notes are gone, but I just like. That's kind of like the only saving grace that I feel like this book really has, like outside of like the things that they're kind of setting up for like the future of the arc, potential segue moment here. But
I still have more to say about Alderheart.
Continue.
No, I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to interrupt you to say that.
No.
You're trying to segue over here. I just have to say, Alderheart was kind of mean. It was funny.
Yes, he was.
Yes.
I liked that for him so much.
He was just being a jerk. And he wasn't taking Moonpaw seriously, even though no one takes Moonpaw seriously. It's like, wow, you're just continuing the cycle, buddy. Like, okay.
Dude, like from like the moment Moonpaw walked into the medicine den, he was just like not caring from like day one. Like he was just like, yeah, I'm with these herbs right now. I don't have time for you, apprentice. Man, isn't Jay Feather mean, guys? Isn't Jay Feather mean? And
Imagine Alderheart is so mean to you, start forming a bond with Jay Feather.
Yeah.
Jay Feather didn't say I was awful today. He said, you're not the worst thing in the world. I feel so proud.
No, but Moon, I literally forgot what I said. So like it doesn't.
You said it was a segue moment, and that's what I was interrupting over. I'm sorry.
Oh. Well, I've said my piece. I like Jay Feather. I've always loved Jay Feather. And in this book, in particular, I am glad that we got to see, more of him in a way that was like actually like kind of like characterized. It wasn't just like Jay Feather says witty, sarcastic thing and then he's thrown away, for like the rest of the book, and they kind of only use him as like a quip, like gag character. And it's nice to see that they're still able to take like these, older characters and still give them the same level of attention that they have, for like even comparable to like a protagonist like that's currently the POV.
They already did it before with Twigkit, but like I do appreciate it whenever they take Jay Feather and they have him warm up to someone, especially a child.
Yes.
I think it's sweet. He has always been kind of tolerant of kittens, just vaguely tolerant of kittens, but I appreciate them taking him and just kind of allowing him to show that like I'm not 100% a terrible jerk all the time, just for any reason.
Yeah, dude, and people forget about like Poppy Frost and like Poppy Frost kits. Like, dude, he was like there like the entire time. Like
they were climbing all over him. It was cute.
Yeah,
because she's his bestie, and she to her kids.
Underrated aspect of his character, in my opinion, very much so.
I don't think that Poppy Frost and Jay Feather have hung out for
I know.
8-9 years.
In my heart, though.
Yeah, in my heart too. I know. They're just friends, but they're not anymore.
They're not even friends.
Before we get to Beware the Two-Faced Cat with one paw in each world, I want to insert a bullet point real quick.
I also wanted to insert a bullet point, so go right ahead.
Well, we'll sit down. Sit down, Sunnyfall.
I'm sitting down.
Charged now. So the bullet point I want to insert is the fact that none of the main characters spent almost any time together this entire book, and at the very least, neither of the old ladies spent any time with Moonpaw, aside from getting a prophecy about her, which I guess is kind of a segue into talking about the prophecy. But I wanted to add that because it's been a pattern in the last few arcs that in the first couple books sometimes the characters have just never met, but especially in the Broken Code, if I remember correctly, in the Broken Code, they spent large amounts of time completely separated, but in this one it was bad.
Yeah,
I almost think they're going to introduce someone else.
Dude,
because
that's what I thought whenever.
In one of the Moonpaw introduction argument, one of the Moonpaw introduction things, I think they mentioned they had some off comment about she was the first of the new characters.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think there's gonna be someone else, like an Ivy Paw situation where they pop up in a second book or third book.
Yes,
there's gonna be a boy.
Really?
I don't want you to be correct, but I think you're correct.
Well, what would be wrong with that? The page space that it would take up to have?
This is just our very first all female.
Yeah.
Protagonist arc.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was more just adding another guy into the mix.
Yeah. Well, the other option is
sorry.
Oh, sorry. No. Go right ahead.
I was just gonna say I think it's possible that Leafstar's already gone. I think it's possible that
really?
that maybe we'll get one more book of either Tawny. I think maybe we'll get one more book of Leafstar, and then she'll either stop being the protagonist, or she'll or maybe even next book we'll switch to Crowfeather's perspective, and we're not even going to have Tawnypelt anymore.
Yeah, I was gonna say Crowfeather or Hawkwing might be the protagonists they swap to.
Like Akira said, there was an article that said that Moonpaw was the first of our young protagonists. So who's to say?
That was explicitly mentioned, though.
Unless the website is lying. They do that sometimes.
Dude, honestly, whenever I first heard that they were doing, Tawnypelt and Leafstar, I mean, this kind of, it kind of ties back into, the new prophecy, correlations over and over again. But if they actually, change, the perspectives, throughout the arc, I am totally there for that. I don't know. I feel like it's the perfect opportunity for them to do something like that again, but it's got to be whether or not they're actually going to take it,
We're not gonna take it.
But yeah, prophecy.
I also had an inserted bullet point. Yes. Okay. Sorry. My bullet point is 2 sentences long, so don't worry about it. Sentence 1 is I wish Golden Kitten Shine Kit to become actual friends consistently to Moonpaw. Pretty please. Point number 2 is I'm extremely happy that Sun Kit and Hazel Kit are names again because I can pat them on the head and love them. Okay, points over.
Kitten scenes over here.
Yeah. All right. So the prophecy part 2, the one that's obviously talking about Moonpaw, is Beware the Two-Faced Cat with one paw in each world. What do we think?
Well, it's not talking about Moonpaw, it's talking about her sister.
Oh, well, her sister is all orange.
Her sister's two-faced metaphorically.
Oh,
dude, she's right.
Oh, you're totally right. Yeah,
Dude, she's
they're
right.
it's a fake out. It's they're gonna think it's about Moonpaw, and they're gonna play Moonpaw, and Moonpaw's gonna take.
Yeah.
I'm so tired of them doing that. Why do they always have to have a character where it's Shadow Sight, Frost Dawn? They just got to make them. They do the worst things possible to them, and it's just deal with it. I don't.
Well, we'll see if they do that to
why
Moonpaw.
is that?
They haven't yet.
I just don't understand why
that's.
Light
Please beat her up.
Why Light, please?
No,
because he beats everyone
why are
up.
you beating me up?
My grandpa.
Yeah, I agree with Akira.
I fully thought it was Moonpaw. I thought they were just being extremely literal and boring, but I really, really like the oops, it's actually a metaphor option. That is so cool.
Yeah, because I think it's A Vision of Shadows. They had the prophecy about clearing the sky, where everyone had their bunch of different interpretations, about leading up to the reveal. Mm-hmm. That it was actually it just they thought it was ShadowClan was was what shadows meant. And, it's gonna be another situation where there's multiple literal interpretations, but it's actually the not literal interpretation that ends up being the correct one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, Akira,
Yeah.
thank you for pointing that
Yeah.
out. Because like I would not have drawn that connection. I mean, just the way that they do prophecies just in general. I mean, they like act like it's a super vague thing, but it's like actually really specific. So if this is like one of the like few circumstances that it actually turns out to be like a very like viable, believable twist, then like I'm there. I'm there. I'm there.
I had a
Technically,
segue.
though,
Oh, sorry. Go right ahead.
Technically, though, it is still about Moonpaw, considering that the evil little creature, whatever the heck, like sister, innocent sister, evil sister, Mapleshade, considering that it can possess Moonpaw and has possessed Moonpaw, from what we understand, because Sunkit says it was you, it looked like you, it didn't look like that cat. Technically, the description is still accurate to what that cat would be presenting as.
Because
Well, it's a paw in each world.
Yeah.
So like the paw in the living world is when it's possessing Moonpaw.
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Dude, you know what I think it'd be really cool is if like the like the side that like her face is split like down the middle like switched like depending on like which one it was, like if it was like the only distinction was that this side of her face was like the black side and the other was the orange side, and they kind of like swapped like a two-face thing. Like I think that'd be cool, but that's kind of like a tangential thing I'm just throwing in there.
At this moment, just keeping a lookout for the future, and contrary to the website's design of her, the scene at the beginning of the book specified that Moonpaw's black side was her.
Like it was the opposite. Whatever it was the opposite of the website.
Yes. So her orange side is her left. That's the one that matches the voice. So black on the right, orange on the left. And that's from Moonpaw's perspective. So from us looking at her, it's orange on the right, black on the left.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Dude, I wonder if they like do.
How did they make this mistake?
It was my right, not your right.
House right, stage right.
Yeah. Because I guess you could say like, oh, it was her left side, but they when the artist took it, they could just draw it on like the literal left versus the looking forward. I am. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably easy to
They
mix
just
up.
flip all of their art on the website. Just flip it all.
Or they could just forget to specify which side it is. It could be just a coin toss.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like the AMVs are gonna get really confusing.
For a little bit. But interesting. I want to see everyone draw a tortoiseshell in, I don't know, 12. What's the impressive frame rate? 12 frames per second?
24 would be more impressive.
24. Yeah.
24 frames per second tortoiseshell. Go, guys.
If that's correct, if it's inaccurate to the website drawing, that's funny because that means it's also inaccurate to Owen's drawings over the chapter headers. Which well, okay, first of all, that shows her with a crescent moon shape and not a half moon shape. But secondarily, that's also the colors match the website design.
But do we really think that they're gonna pay that much attention to it?
No,
I
not
just
really.
think that's
But it's fun.
Same as like amount of attention as they pay to which paw squirrel flight is whether it's the left or right paw that squirrel flight
Yeah.
has a white on.
Or if she has it at all, considering the new mini.
Dude, I was just about to say that. Did any of you like actually get that? Because I really want to know if they actually
gets all
shipped
the
that.
minis.
I have it. It's I haven't actually opened the box because I need to rethink my recording situation for minis, but I know that it doesn't have the white paw.
That's crazy.
I am convinced.
Dude, I don't know why, because like the person that draws them, that does like the background art for the website and all of that, I mean it's very clearly there. So like how do they even like make that mistake where she even like they're shipping
It's
a product?
okay. Like it's not like a one-to-one like thing, right? Like so the person doing the website art is not the exact same person who's going through and designing these minis at the
I feel
manufacturing
like
level.
at the least they'd look at the first squirrel flight mini though.
That's what. Yeah,
They did, and then they took it and then they mirrored the design without thinking about the paw. That's my conspiracy here, because if you look at it, it's almost identical on either side, so it's like a mirrored setup, where they just didn't consider like everything is exactly symmetrized to the other side on the new Scrufflight Mini. Yeah,
certainly warrior cats.
Anyway, on that note, this is a somewhat broader point, but as far as pacing of this book or how the different stories work together, we have sort of touched on bits of this already in the balance between the three POVs and the fact that they never interact.
They don't. like the stories don't work together. They're okay. Tawnypelt and Leafstar are sharing themes. That theme is being old, by the way.
Yes.
Moonpaw has nothing to do with anything ever.
Her story is about immaturity.
Her story is about being plagued by ADHD, but
where ADHD is a person.
I would argue that that it's not paced super well in that they do not really take steps to get anywhere, and they spend large periods of time doing the same thing over and over and over again. And sometimes they'll switch back to a Tawnypelt chapter where it's like the same day as the last Tawnypelt chapter, even though time passed in the other chapters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. What about like Blue Star even telling Tawnypelt, like warning her about like the voice of Moonpaw in the first place? Like I don't know. I feel like they wouldn't have thrown that in there unless like they were gonna like it was eventually all gonna come together at some point. But I don't see this is a good point to Moon's point earlier where it was like maybe they are like actually done with like Leafstar at this point, because like I don't see like where does Leafstar come in between that like at all. Like I don't see her.
She'll be an elder, you know.
She's one of the elders going on the Elder's Quest.
Yeah, it's happening later. It's just not happening in the book called The Elder's Quest. It's happening in the book after. Do we actually know the name of the next book?
No, I don't think so.
It'll leak somewhere.
This is one of the exciting things. For once, because the release date is so far off, we actually don't know what the next book is yet.
Yay!
We know it's coming out mid-October.
Yeah, just wait until the HarperCollins catalog comes out, and then it's all over.
Which is going to be the opposite situation for book 3.
Yeah.
Where we know it extra early.
You know, I think this implies possibly that Cherith is writing both book 1 and book 2 of this
That
series.
was my thought, yeah.
Well, I don't think, because there's still a super edition in there. I don't think it makes. I don't think it's an impact because it's still the same amount of books per year. I think very.
Do we
this
know
book
if
could have been
StormClan's
finished
Folly...
like.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, this book could have been finished like really early too.
Yeah.
We don't know.
It is shorter than.
Do we know if StormClan's Folly is being written by Cherith, or if it's
I actually
a
don't
new
know.
writer?
Dude, where does Vicky come into this?
She doesn't.
I know, but like, why do they? She says she's coming.
Going to be doing something or other, but she didn't imply that. She implied it was like a cameo.
It probably wouldn't be like a super edition's worth of writing. That's a lot.
What was the announcement? I
what?
don't remember.
It was basically just that she was going to be. She posted it to her Facebook, and she was like, "Hey guys, like I'm gonna be coming back for like a special thing, and like I don't know, like how would we even
coming back to write something."
Yeah, it has to be like a
story.
Yeah, I was about to say it has to be like a short story or something, because like I don't like how else would you how else would you cameo her, you know?
Yeah, a sequel to the long to Spotted Leaf's honest answer.
Okay. She says, good luck to everyone starting new projects this year, whatever it might be. I'm currently working on my contribution to the Warriors' output this year, and it is beyond wonderful to be back in the forest running alongside my beloved cats. I hope 2025 brings opportunities to all of us for creativity, blah, blah, blah. But there's no, there's no, I swear that she must have said it somewhere else. 1 second.
Wait, did she say she was currently working?
Yeah, she said my contribution to the Warriors' output this year.
But output this year? I didn't think they wrote them that quickly. Like, I thought they were writing them ahead.
Oh, maybe
she's talking about the work she's doing now. I don't think that necessarily means.
Yeah, I think she missed.
Yeah, so it might be a book coming in like 2026 that she's writing right now.
But I swear that someone used the word cameo somewhere. Yeah, she says, she also said in the same post, I'm starting on a new project this year, but she didn't mention that it's Warrior Cats related. And she says, being a very lucky member of the Aaron Hunter team and working on a number of other series, I am striking out on my own to offer my services as a freelance editor. I love helping new writers shape and craft their precious manuscripts. It's a privilege to share my quarter-century publishing experience. She puts yikes after quarter-century, and gives the kind of technical advice and mentoring that made such a difference to me when I was starting out. So she referenced earlier in this that she's still part of the Aaron Hunter team before mentioning that she was contributing to the Warriors output this year. But maybe I'm thinking of a website article, the thing that mentioned that Vicky was going to do something.
No. It's dude, the Warriors wiki posted it. It's this is where the cameo thing comes from. Here, I am also
it's the Thanksgiving.
I am also being dusted off and allowed back onto the Aaron Hunter team next year for a very exciting cameo role in an upcoming publication. I can't say anything else at the moment, and I find it so hard to keep it a secret, but I will update you as soon as I'm allowed.
So
interesting.
Cameo.
Mm-hmm. So it's probably not full book.
So either like something weird like a prologue for StormClan's Fall, like something like that, or it's like a field guide and she writes one of the some of the short stories in it.
Yeah, because they're like totally done with novellas, so like it can't be that, and we know that her experience with the last one, or whatever, you know.
Well, we can't say like for sure that they'll never do a novella again, but they mentioned that they were moving novellas over for graphic novels back when somebody asked about them after they stopped.
Yeah, I wondered how that.
The new graphic novels seem to be done mostly through HarperCollins, though. So like that like essentially, if they were telling the truth and not being like Game Freak or something about it, they probably do have more time. But like I don't know, I don't know anything. It's like this entire series. It's made for like profity reasons. So like
yeah.
But it's also possible for the workers in your profit margin company to get burned out after 20 years of going at lightning speed.
The novellas were definitely like ever since Vicky took off, the novellas started kind of nosediving.
Yeah. They seemed to be just sort of little nuggets of passion project.
Anyway, where were we?
This actually happens to segue in really well because our next point is talking about where we think the arc will go. We've talked about the future of Warriors as a franchise. What's going to happen in the story? Since we can actually guess now. We don't just know.
That is a boon.
I don't know. Something, the voice, like, does something, and then it's, like, bad, and then that's it. I don't know.
I guess where I'm struggling is figuring out how the voice as a kitten ghost antagonist in the mind of a ThunderClan warrior apprentice is going to have any bearings on the clan's need to leave. There's a mass two-leg poisoning. Like, they seem very different scales of problem.
Yeah.
Here, I'll construct a tinfoil hat for you, Sunny, okay?
Go right ahead.
Okay. So, I think that as this goes on in the next book, Moonpaw is going to get, like, increasingly incapable because of the exploits of her ghost. So, like she's going to have trouble sleeping. She's going to have trouble, like staying on task. It's going to be more of the same in that aspect to some extent. And because of something the ghost does, probably, I don't know, like cross the border or something for fun because she thinks that the squirrel would be fun to dance with over there. She's going to get caught by Leafstar or something. Because, SkyClan's right there. And then that is going to probably get her in trouble. She's going to get her in trouble. She's going to get her caught and brought to another clan and imprisoned there, on a temporary basis. And then when everything starts coming to a head, that's already going to put her in a place where she is around Leafstar and or Tawnypelt. Maybe she does something so bad that she gets caught on ShadowClan territory. I don't know. Either way, I think that she's going to cross a border and she's going to get caught, and that's going to happen. But tinfoil hat, going a little bit further, I think that Tawnypelt is actually probably going to take off and go to WindClan like in 2 seconds if she hasn't already, and she's going to be like, Crowfeather, I love you, and Crowfeather's going to be like, whoa,
who are
okay,
you?
Sure.
Who are you? We went on. We did what together at the thing that I keep bringing up that we've done on the Great Journey. You were there.
The Great Journey. We're really getting the Elder's Quest. We're stretching it a lot.
Last week, when we looked at those houses together, that was the most romantic day of my life. Oh, and my third part of my prediction is Leafstar goes completely blind. Yes, I would believe that part at least.
Did they? I'm forgetting here. Did they show that her vision was progressively getting worse?
Yes.
It was. I know it was like a thing that it was like deteriorating, but was it actually like
she
an
fell
element?
in a hole?
Yeah.
Oh well. Oh.
she mistook a cat for a badger and attacked her clanmate.
What do you think is going to happen next, Akira?
So I had a really dumb topic I wanted.
Oh yeah, go right ahead.
In chapter 18, towards the end, there's use of parentheses in Warrior Cats. Is that the first time that's happened?
The first use of parentheses?
It says, and that other voice, which she tried hard to believe was real, even though she knew it was. Sorry, it says she tried hard to believe wasn't real, even though she knew it was, would go away. And there's a parentheses there, and it's like, I had never seen Warrior Cats. I don't think they've done that.
Yeah, because usually
that's a little weird, isn't it? Huh?
Yeah, I guess it kind of just is a thing with like the way that it's like written.
I'm going to do a bit of sudden research if they've ever used parentheses.
That's very Wings of Fire of them all of a sudden.
Yeah, because usually they don't, because it's like third person limited, like sort of perspective. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't really like have like the sass. Usually you don't put the sass in like the actual writing itself. Usually it's like in the, the italics that thoughts. It feels like
wow.
Yeah, they're also very he, she, they.
Yeah.
They so.
Wow. Yeah, I never would have noticed that, but you're totally right. At the very least, of the smattering of ones I'm trying right now, across multiple arcs and super editions, and I could try the guidebooks, but that's sort of a different thing.
That's cheating.
Format-wise.
Yeah, she's right. It's cheating.
Yeah. I think the guidebooks probably use a lot more iconography.
Something I was going to mention earlier, when we were hurting Moonpaw for not having a personality, was that I did think that she had a bit of sassiness that you wouldn't have really seen from Frostpaw, and a little bit of aggressive personality that you wouldn't have seen from Frostpaw. I'm sorry that I'm directly comparing her to Frostpaw, but like when she is interacting with her spirit, when she is interacting with people who are not when she's in an uncomfortable situation, she does seem to like lash out a little bit. She does seem to kind of get terse and impatient, and that's something that isn't really common in the she-cats lately.
Fair. In that case, I would agree it was there in higher percentages than other she-cats. It's just something I would like to continue on then. Beef up a little bit. I'm not picky about which personality. I just want us to definitively choose a personality. If we're going sassy, sounds great.
Just a little sassy. The parentheses reminded me of it.
Thank you for the parentheses, Akira.
Okay. Think we're about done?
Yeah, and with that, I believe we have just about covered anything. Are there any final thoughts people have before we close it out?
I hope the next book has a lot of funny stuff.
Me too.
Yeah, I hope it like gets good and it's not just like this book again, because this one was a struggle for sure.
I think talking about the book actually made me like the book more.
Yeah, no, dude, like totally, because it's like that's the fun in these discussions, because like there are so many things that like I absolutely like just totally missed that like I wouldn't have been able to see without that reflection through you guys. And I don't know, I mean, I ranked this book incredibly poorly, and my opinion is now hopeful.
I hope that Hawkstar is a ridiculous leader who has no brain thoughts whatsoever, and I hope that Tawny Crow gets together immediately and everyone makes fun of them, and I hope that Moonpaw's ghost is Mapleshade. The end.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Moonkitti.
I hope that cats speak to each other and form positive, lasting relationships at times, or negative, lasting relationships at other times. I hope characters have personalities that exist for more than one book, and that Tawny Crow is either not treated seriously, or is treated seriously and done well.
I think you might be reading the wrong book series.
Yeah.
He's alright.
I'm okay with it being treated seriously as long as it's funny.
Yeah. I don't think it'll ever stop being funny, just the fact that it's Tawnypelt and Crowfeather. Like,
yeah.
why is this even happening right now?
It's gonna be
I think
forever absurd.
I do think they are like self-aware with the absurdity, with like that one quote where like Tawnypelt's like thinking about how hot he is.
Yeah, she's like, what am I thinking?
Why in the world do I find this Tom attractive?
I think that they could go about it as seriously and stoically as possible, but they still wouldn't be able to escape it being funny.
I'm sure. This is Crowfeather. 3X's Crowfeather with Tawnypelt.
The saga continues.
I hope that they read the new prophecy before they made this, right?
That's a good point.
Like, I hope they
yes.
read the new prophecy before they made this, and the people who read it were like seeing some hint. They were like, you know what, Crowfeather and Tawnypelt, they kind of have something going on here. And then I hope that there's a website article by the story editors later where they're like, we got so into the idea of Tawnypelt and Crowfeather, we just had to make it real. Like that's my biggest dream.
Yeah.
That would be brilliant. All right. From there, though, I do want to allow you to go back to your lives at some point. So I will say goodbye, everyone. And if you have not subscribed to any of these three people, please visit the description down below where I have listed the channel names for BrightGuardianAkira, Hawkkz, and Moonkitti. Click on those and then hit the subscribe button. Ding-a-ling that bell.
Don't subscribe anymore.
Ring-a-ling-ding the bell, guys. You know what to do. Do the YouTube thing. Drop a comment down below.
You know,
Hit
all
me
the
up.
YouTube thingamajiggies.
Goodbye
Yep.
forever.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.